This month's IGN First is Star Wars Outlaws. We'll be diving deep into Massive Entertainment's open-world adventure into a galaxy far, far away throughout July, with new behind-the-scenes looks and features. We've already explored how Massive brought the cinematic spectacle of Star Wars into an open galaxy setting, and now we're thrilled to bring you a full mission of exclusive gameplay. Taking place on the classic desert planet of Tatooine, this expert mission takes Kate on a journey involving a Jawa and a Sarlacc pit as she journeys from the sand to the stars. Enjoy.
Hey, I heard you could put a turret on my ship. I'm sorry?
She said she'll put a turret anywhere if you give her a tooth. Forgive the intrusion, but I sensed you needed an interpreter.
Oh, thanks, but I'm not giving her a tooth.
No, not your tooth. A sarlacc tooth. One from its second mouth.
Second mouth? Oh, you won't take credits?
She says if you won't pay for breakfast, you can eat sand for free. A Jawa proverb.
No, I get it. I'll get the tooth. But that turret better be good.
You have a deal? How exciting. You know, this reminds me of my time negotiating with the Trade Federal.
Hey, ND, you know where I can get a Sarlacc tooth?
Sarlacc. And you need to find its pit. I'd start in the Dune Sea.
What is that?
Stay sharp, Kay. A pristine Sarlacc tooth is worth a lot on the black market.
You saying I'll have competition?
Dead Sarlaccs get scavenged fast. Anyone else looking for a tooth won't be coming alone.
Conchida Troy. Gigi su imta graba fingrani titoki.
It's a dead Sarlacc. Who knows what's crawling around down there? We're going to index. Okay, that's one mouth down. You good, buddy? Ugh, it's kind of leathery.
Kay, the Jawas have arrived at the ship.
Did they bring a turret?
They did. They have yet to confirm that it works.
Okay, well, you keep an eye on that. I've got to find a way down to the bottom of this pit. Ugh, so many dead things in this dead thing. worked. What do you see? Phew, the tooth, finally. Sorry, droid. I need this more than you. ND?
Finally. What's your status?
Well, I found a tooth. Now I just need to get out of this pit. Why? You worried about me?
About you? No. Hurry, please.
Come back here! That's my tooth!
Wait.
All right, Nix. Go get him. Someone nearby?
Getting jumpy.
All this for a tooth. They're headed for us. Oh, got the tooth. I should get out of here.
You think you can take me? Come on.
We're going loud. Oh!
I'm not afraid.
Okay, the Jawas are getting impatient.
How can you tell?
They're trying to disassemble me.
Okay. I'm headed back to their boss now, all right? Just, try to stay in one piece. Here. Straight from the, second mouth. That's good, right?
Oh, yes. I love watching the wheels of commerce in motion.
Ah, Criff. It's hot, Nix.
Turret is active, Kay.
We'll have more exclusive looks at Star Wars Outlaws for you throughout July, and for everything else, stick with IGN.
auf der Gamescom? Lori, halt die Klappe. Los, kämpfen wir! Ja!
Michael and Miranda here, and we just got hands-on with an hour of Star Wars Outlaws. And you know what? Maybe not having a lightsaber isn't so bad. So there's 5 things that we want to hone in on. So take it away, Miranda, with the first one.
Wordle. Okay, so it's kind of a joke, but also it's basically Wordle. So one of the things that really stood out to me was that this is an adventure of discovery and finding things and exploration, and puzzles are a big part of that. And what the two we found for like unlocking things or hacking was basically one is Wordle, but Star Wars, and it's very confusing, but don't worry, we'll have a guide. And it was a lot of fun. And then the other was like this little rhythm game lock, which was actually pretty cool. So it's, if those are kind of like your jam, they're not that often, but they of course feature them in this preview, and I really liked getting to play them. The second part of that, of course, is talking about how this does feel familiar to other games we've played, and if you want to take that part away.
Yeah, I think that the elevator pitch for this would be, if someone on the street asked me what Star Wars Outlaws was, I would just be like, Star Wars, but Uncharted, or Tomb Raider. And I think that's a fair assessment. That's what they're going for, but I think this is a very good version of that. They're doing a lot of the right things, and I think there's still like some rough parts here and there. Of course, the game is still an early build that we're playing, but I really like that they're really keying in on the things that you find familiar about those things, but making it Star Wars. And, you know, sometimes that's just what people want. Like, there's action, there's shootouts, there's stealth. Like, we're talking about the different puzzles that are kind of interspersed between the action, gives it a little bit of a, like, breaking the pace, and putting that in the context of Star Wars, where you're going from planet to planet, all these different cultures and cities, and getting into all kinds of trouble as a scoundrel. I think this style of game is suited for what Star Wars is about, or can be about.
The third thing was that we got a nice little companion Nyx, little axolotl cute critter that just like rides on your back. Sometimes companion characters can be really annoying, especially if they're animals and they're like really trying to play it up and be like, look how cute. And I love cute things, don't get me wrong. We love cute things. But are they helpful? And are they unobtrusive? And the answer is yes, at least from the hour we played. I play a lot of games where there are companion things, and if they just make too many noises, it can be really annoying and also really distracting if you're trying to focus on something or listen to a conversation around the corner. And good news is that Nyx is wonderful. Like, I loved sending Nyx out to just go distract the stormtroopers or other enemy guards that were just like hanging out, and they're so mean to him though. I was like, no, don't shoot him. But yeah, I'll go grab stuff for you, so if there's something kind of out of the way where you don't want to necessarily go sneak into, you can just say like, Nyx, go get it. Nyx will also help in combat, and go retrieve weapons. Like, I just put myself down in a corner where you're supposed to just like run, but instead I was like, I'm standing my ground. And Nyx was like, I brought you another massive blaster, and like, thank you, my sweet pet. So it's a very good companionship. So that's kind of another thing we definitely learned from this is that it's not annoying, which I think is very important because it can be easy to make those characters annoying. And for our fourth thing, we found that there is a lot of different sorts of environments to be had for your adventure. And if you'd like to talk more about that.
Sure, yes. I think because we had 3 separate levels or 3 separate sequences to play through, and it gave you a taste of everything. So you got to do kind of like the platforming, oh my god, the floor under me is about to crumble and I need to jump to this ledge, and then you do that. Like, I'm not a big fan of that in games, but I understand the purpose for them. But but they quickly move you to like a combat encounter, or they move on to like some story content, or you're infiltrating a place. So another mission that we went through was a great encapsulation of that, where we're in an Imperial base, and it starts off with stealth. We hack a system, we move cargo into a ship, a big firefight breaks out, we hop onto that ship, and immediately you're now flying in space, almost like a Star Wars Rogue Squadron all of a sudden. And then from there, you get into some space dogfights, and then from there you immediately land on Mirogana, I think is like the home planet, or the city on the home planet, yeah, and then you seamlessly land on there, no load times. So there's also a seamlessness to all this variety, and it goes from one thing to another. So you never feel like, oh, I'm stuck doing 20 minutes of one thing. And then from there, you're just in this city with a whole bunch of people and things happening, things marked on your map. And I think that's just like a good example of what Star Wars Outlaws is capable of doing.
Yes, which brings me to number 5, which there's just a lot to do, which as a guides person, like that's super exciting and also intimidating, but mostly exciting. So even going back into the space combat, like I popped open the map and it's like there are 15 treasures to find. And I was like, in all this debris? Where am I gonna find it? It's like, I'll find it with the help of our maps, but I'm sorry. You gotta let me have a little bit of this, guys. I don't get to be on camera often. But anyway, to the point, there is a lot to like find and do, and also people to make angry, which I could have said in a worse way, but I said make angry, because you wanna befriend these people, these different groups of criminal organizations. You have reputation rankings with them, and raising your reputation awards you different treasures and I'm sure other benefits as well. Like there's a lot to find, a lot of side quests. I think when I was peeking around in the map, like there are experts that you go to get like different skills and other things upgraded. So like until you find these people, until you explore it, you don't get the full, I think, scoundrel immersiveness that you could have. But you can also like probably mainline it a bit too. And so I think the promise of there being a lot, like I saw like there's charms to find, you have outfits, you have your primary blaster that you can change around, it has its, stun function, it has an ion blast. And so I think there's just a lot there to dig into, and I definitely love finding things, and I was happy to see that it's so well laid out, because even though there can be a lot to find, it's just not open-ended. Like things are numbered, things are very clearly conveyed on like what you can do. That way I think you can kind of just like plan out what you really do want to invest your time into and make the most of it. So I'm glad it was thoughtfully put not only onto the planet searching, but also into space, where you can also go explore space a bit in your ship and have fun time there. So yeah, there's definitely plenty to be done, at least in the little bit we saw.
So those are the 5 things that stood out to us during our time playing Star Wars Outlaws. Now, Miranda's going to have a lot of work ahead of her on August 30th when this game launches on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation consoles. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
This rat cult spreads through Gotham like a plague. I have to stop it, even if it consumes me.
The corrupt system has failed you. Are you not angry? Fight back!
It's the freaking bat! We aren't afraid of you! The bat dies tonight!
Jim, this Rat King could be anywhere. A face in the crowd, a foot soldier in his own fanatical mob. So how in the hell do we find him?
Targets are all city employees, civil servants, public officials.
You could have been more than a symbol. You could have been a god.
Look out!
You don't calm down. Someone's going to die.
Alfred, we tried it your way, now we do it mine.
Something big's going down tonight. We repress our rage, our fears. It feeds the shadow deep inside us.
You're everything that's wrong with Gotham! I'm done holding back! I can bring the Rat King to you.
What if I told you there was a connection between ancient cultures around the world? A great circle. Does it exist? Is it the key to some lost power? That's up to you to uncover. I'm Troy Baker, and I play Indy. It's humbling playing a character that so many people, myself included, look up to. As a kid, Seeing Indiana Jones in the theater for the first time was a defining moment for me. And I never would have guessed that all these years later, I would be the one wearing the hat. But here I am. It's been a dream come true. A dream that I cannot wait for you to live for yourselves. The beauty of a first-person game like this is that we all get to feel what it's like to become Indy. You are the one who cracks the whip, who feels the weight of every punch and the thrill of finding every clue. Indy is such a unique character. A professor, an archaeologist, a brawler, an explorer, the quintessential all-around adventurer. And this game has everything you'd expect from an Indiana Jones adventure. Mysterious artifacts, cunning villains, ancient discoveries, hard-hitting action. It's a world of constant danger where you've got to think on your feet to stay alive. The Great Circle spans the entire globe, from snake-filled jungle temples to scorpion-riddled desert tombs. Stunning open areas to explore freely, full of secrets for you to discover. And you'll get more than just the classic whip and revolver. Indy's journal and his camera will immerse you in the mystery, providing extra info on all of your finds so you can appreciate all of the little historical details he obsesses over. And those details are your key to solving the ancient puzzles that hold the secrets you're after. But ancient secrets don't come easy. It's best to have an exit strategy. This is an incredible new way to experience Indiana Jones, and I can't wait for you to play it. Hold on to your hat.
Play it day one with Game Pass.
Hey everybody, I'm Ryan McCaffrey here at Summer Game Fest in Los Angeles, playing a ton of games. One I want to tell you about right now is Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl. This is an Xbox exclusive, due out this September. We've been waiting on this one a long time. You know the developer's story. These are Ukrainian developers who have fought a literal war on their doorstep while trying to get this video game done. It's taken them obviously a little longer than we all originally anticipated, but I just played it, and I think the wait is going to be worth it. This game, A, looks gorgeous, which the trailers already made it pretty clear that was going to be the case. I played on PC, and this is very clearly going to be a deep game. This is not just a run-and-gun first-person shooter, although if you played the first one, you already knew that, but I just started outside the zone. Starts with a huge cutscene, beginning of the game. Won't spoil it for you, but things get pretty intense pretty quickly. Even the weakest first enemy you happen upon is not a joke. So this game is, it's kind of got some survival stuff to it. You have an inventory system. There is a lot going on. There's crazy monsters. There's other humans to worry about, and again, visually, it is awesome. So the story here, I didn't even really get to scratch the surface. I just cannot wait to play more of it. The wait is not too much longer, and just wanted to give you some first impressions here because we have all been waiting quite a while to play this one. But the initial impression, extremely positive, looks great, plays great. I am eager to see how it's going to look on a Series X after I was playing it on a PC, but super confident in that. So stay tuned. We're going to have a lot more on Stalker 2 in the coming weeks and months here on IGN ahead of that September release. So until then, for all your gaming news and needs, keep it right here at IGN.
Hi, I'm Chaz Barker. I'm the lead game designer of Starship Troopers Extermination. Let me tell you about something we're introducing to the game. It's this monstrosity of a tank, but in bug shape. It's called the Tanker Bug. It has a suite of different moves that it's going to ruin your day with. We're trying to make the Tanker Bug experience as close to the movie as possible. Do as much damage as possible before he probably gets mad at you.
I'm Tamiris Parra, aka Tammy. I'm the lead environment artist on Starship Troopers Extermination. Boreas. This is an icy planet that has been infected by a bug meteor. The bugs have had time to mutate and evolve within that frosty environment. That's where our players are going to be able to encounter the Frost Drone and the Frost Warrior. So we're very excited to introduce this new biome to you guys, and we really hope that you guys enjoy it.
I'm Peter Maurice, Project Lead for Starship Troopers Extermination. Our goal for single player is to introduce a new way to progress your character and prepare you for 16-player multiplayer. A really cool aspect that we wanted was bringing General Rico in. He's now in charge of a special operations group. He's forming the best of the best from all military branches, and he's invited you to come and try out for a special operations group. When we launch in console in October of 2024, that is just the start of a very robust roadmap of features and gameplay moments that we'll be bringing in, so you can expect to see tons more bugs and worlds to explore in Starship Troopers Extermination.
Скіфе, радий тебе бачити, друже. Валимо звідси. Ви тільки погляньте на це. Край, чарівний край черемоша і прута. Ти моя любов. Ти рідна матінко моя. Жива.
Координати закинув. Поквапся.
Зараз час такий. Час можливостей.
Усі ці жертви, усі ці смерті. Який в них сенс? Зона така, якою бачиш її ти. Я ж показав тобі, якою я її бачу. Іди своїм шляхом, і тоді ти зможеш побачити зону по-своєму.
Now listen, everybody get down. This is a robbery mask on. F***ing with clowns going for fame, money, guns, and renown. We got the bags on the ground. Let's keep up the stocking.
What?
Hi. I'd like to report something suspicious.
Okay.
So I was waiting at this stoplight in the Bronx, and this van pulled up next to me.
Vans aren't illegal, ma'am.
Well, I know that, but the people inside the van, they were all wearing masks.
Masks aren't illegal either.
But they were freaky clown masks. One of them had the American flag, and another had, like, a St. Patrick's Day thing going on.
You do realize this number is for emergencies only, right?
Oh, yeah, but I just figured, you know, with that bank robber gang on the news...
Listen, I'm an officer of the law.
You know what that means? It means I'm busy solving real crimes. I can't have morons calling in every time the circus comes to town.
Well, what if they're on their way to a heist or something? They could hurt people. You're the police, you have to do something.
Listen, I got bigger problems right now, and it ain't clowns, all right? Call 911 or something, I don't care. Bye.
Want to live? Do what the nice Irish lady says.
Something calls to me.
We meet again, Shadow the Hedgehog. Struggle all you want. You cannot deny your fate.
New power. Ultimate life form.
Peggy 18.
I have concluded a very fragile truce with Sigismund, and if anyone should disrupt my plans with headstrong acts of violence, there will be consequences.
I intend to wage war, not parley.
Everything all right, eh?
We need more people. The best thing would be to recruit from your old comrades.
Well, if they're not already swinging on the gallows somewhere.
Will you help us, Henry?
I like that boy already.
product not yet rated.
Emergency at Windscale Atom Plant. It's not emergency, but disaster. Now the worst seems to be over. Wiring target.
Are you really the best swordsman in these parts?
Richtig!
It's about to kick off in the center of Kuttenberg, the sprawling medieval city at the heart of Kingdom Come Deliverance II.
I challenge you to a duel mit Langschwertern.
Menhard the Swordmaster has offered to teach protagonist Henry of Skalitz a few tricks with the blade, but the lesson's been interrupted by Kuttenberg's official fencing guild. They won't let Menhard teach so much as a pommel strike, despite him having a charter from King Wenceslas to do just that. Moreover, they're going to fine the old Fechtmeister for breaching their rules. Things are getting heated, with the chance of a real sword fight breaking out growing by the second. But Henry has an idea. Menhard wasn't teaching me anything, he blurts out. We were dueling because I insulted his honor. Reacting quickly, I decide to have Henry say that he slept with Menhard's daughter. I don't know whether Menhard has a daughter, but it seems like the sort of thing medieval people would get into a duel over, so I roll with it. It works. The guildmaster buys my bald-faced lie and waives the fine, though Menhard is still prohibited from teaching longsword in the city. With a fight avoided, I turn to Menhard expecting him to be grateful. Instead, he's furious. It seems Menhard really does have a daughter, and the very idea of Henry sleeping with her has genuinely insulted his honor. Oops. With their relationship damaged, Henry must desperately placate the raging swordmaster before they can focus on more important matters, like plotting how to get back at Kuttenberg's fencing guild. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is shaping up to be an even bigger RPG than the original, a 100-plus hour epic featuring massive battles, sweeping bohemian landscapes, and a fully simulated medieval metropolis. But at Warhorse Studios' preview event hosted in the real-life city of Kutna-Hora, the modern Czech name for Kuttenberg, it was this throwaway detail that stuck with me the most. Warhorse claims every choice the player makes in its RPG will feel like it matters, and this dramatic response to a decision I barely thought about was the first, but not the last, indicator that KCD2 could well deliver on this promise. It'll be several hours before KCD2 opens up to you in this way, however. Warhorse provided access to 2 separate chunks of the game, the first of which took place right at the beginning. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 opens in medias res with an explosive castle siege where you defend the ramparts with crossbow and longsword. Warhorse says KCD2 will feature substantially larger battles than the previous game, and this initial sequence was an impressive taster of playing at a larger scale. From booting down siege ladders from the castle wall, to firing crossbow bolts into a crush of enemy soldiers as they come barreling through the gate. Following this exciting opening, KCD2 rewinds to connect with the end of the first game, as we rejoin Henry and his friend and liege lord Sir Hans Capone on a mission to deliver a letter to neighboring Lord Otto von Burgo. This initial hour is strictly linear and heavy on cutscenes, but it keeps you engaged through the feel-good vibes of Henry and Hans's friendship.
Should we get ready for a fight?
Take it easy, Henry.
Like the first Kingdom Come, the sequel is written in a very humanistic style. Henry remains a deeply affable, fish-out-of-water protagonist, while his position as Sir Hans's squire leads to an interesting blend of camaraderie and tension between the two. Together, the pair have big lads-on-tour energy, clearly reveling in the rare freedom their position and assignment affords them in medieval society. It isn't all fun and games, however. An encounter with a retinue of Burgo's knights emphasizes the danger that lurks around every corner, as the two have to convince the armed horsemen that they aren't bandits.
Can you not distinguish between a noble and a bandit, sir?
It's not always that straightforward these days.
It's the first of many elaborate dialogue sequences, with numerous player choices and a lot of exposition. Indeed, while KCD's conversations are generally interesting, I did wonder if they might benefit from some sterner editing at times. KCD 2 is built to be played with no foreknowledge of the original. As such, the opening hours fold in several refresher tutorials, such as Henry and Hans having a friendly duel that reintroduces you to KCD's unique sword fighting system.
You fight like an old hag!
This has been refined for the sequel, reducing the number of directions you can swing your sword from 5 to 4, and making actions like parrying and riposting easier to pull off. While it's been years since I played the first game, I was nonetheless able to hold my own against Sir Hans after a few minutes of instruction, suggesting that Warhorse's changes have indeed made the system easier to grapple with. The sequel also introduces bespoke fighting systems for certain non-sword weapons like maces, letting players who don't fancy mastering the blade to adopt the simpler approach of cracking skulls. The introduction culminates in Henry and Hans taking a bath in the river, followed by a goofy scene where they sneak through the reeds along the riverbank, drawn by the sound of peasant women singing nearby. The scene quickly takes a darker turn, however, as the pair's camp is attacked by bandits, whereupon they're forced to flee into the woods wearing nothing but their pants. It's a sequence that shifts between dramatic and comedic multiple times, and the game handles those tonal changes well. Through a series of unfortunate events, Henry and Hans end up in the care of a local peasant woman, where we get a chance to see the quieter side of KCD2. One of the original strengths was how it strived to immerse players in moment-to-moment play, and KCD2 seems just as indulgent in this regard. Simple actions like eating stew from a pot and picking herbs to make potions are depicted with intensely detailed first-person animations, while the Bohemian forests you explore are verdant and alive with birdsong. There's a chance to experiment with the updated alchemy system, which is even more tactile and involved than the first game, with you sprinkling ingredients into a big cauldron before adjusting its height with a lever to change the heat level. Later, when Henry has to fight and kill a couple of bandits who come looking for him, an optional objective unlocks to bury the bodies away from the peasant woman's home, and you can go through the entire process of putting these wayward souls to rest.
You can talk to me, or talk to cold steel!
Everything in this initial demo suggests KCD2 will retain the original's capacity for letting players steep in its medieval setting. What it didn't show was anything wildly new. For this, the second demo was more promising. This fast-forwarded the campaign to the 50-hour mark, where Henry arrives in Kuttenberg. This medieval metropolis is the largest urban space seen in the series yet, a bustling environment where every NPC has their own daily routines and behaviors. It's here where Henry encounters the swordmaster Menhard and becomes embroiled in the dispute over who has the rights to teach longsword in the city. To settle the disagreement, Menhard hatches a plan and asks Henry to steal the Fencing Guild's official sword and hang it on the wall of the Rathaus, the town hall. This, Menhard explains, is the formal way of issuing a challenge of arms to the town, a challenge which Menhard could then accept to prove his martial superiority. Of course, this means sneaking into a guild hall filled with master swordsmen, which Menhard wisely suggests you do at night, though you are free to try it in the daytime if you wish. Yet even in darkness, clandestine activities are a risky business in Kuttenberg. Anyone walking around at night is expected to carry a torch, and not doing so will get you in trouble with the guards. Having successfully evaded the city watch, I then have to climb over the wall of the guild house, pick the lock on one of several potential entrances, find the sword, and escape. Here, the open-ended nature of KCD2 becomes much more apparent, with the quest feeling closer in spirit to a game like Dishonored than the more directed sequences of the early game. The first time I attempt the theft, things go south quickly. I pick the lock, but attract the attention of one of the night watchmen, who relocks the door after searching for me.
You can't be here.
I pick the lock again and proceed 3 steps into the building before I'm rumbled. I try to fight my way out with fisticuffs, managing to knock out one of the night watchmen, but another has roused the town guard who come barreling in with swords drawn to quickly cut me down. In my second attempt, I'm more careful and succeed in lifting the sword unnoticed and hanging it on the wall of the Rathaus. This would be a natural endpoint for the quest, but it proves to be far from over. Succeeding in the theft leads to a multi-stage longsword tournament between Menhard and the Swordmasters Guild, and you can choose to be sworn in under Menhard's stewardship and fight for his honor and right to teach longsword in the city. Moreover, the quest can alter in multiple ways depending on your actions, both in narrative choices and general play. If you steal the sword but are spotted doing so, for example, the guild will accuse you of the theft when Menhard accepts their challenge. Consequently, the Swordmasters Guild is given heavier armor during the tournament, making the fight more difficult on your end. This elaborate structure isn't entirely surprising. Quest design was one of the first game's strengths too. Nonetheless, it certainly feels like the sequel is operating at a higher level amid the busy streets of Kuttenberg. And if Menhard's quest is reflective of the sequel's 100+ hour total, then Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 could end up being something rather special indeed.
I'd be a fool to say no to that.
My thoughts exactly, Goodman.
For more on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, don't miss the announcement trailer and the Saints and Sinners trailer. And for everything else in the world of video games, stick with IGN.
That's enough for me. Your turn.
Ey, Junge, das gibt's doch nicht. Ich laufe jetzt den ganzen Tag hier schon über diese Messehalle. Wo ist der denn? Sebastian! Oh mein Gott, jetzt... Oh, ich kann's nicht fassen. Jetzt rennst du hier im Vault rum, ey, Junge. Wir müssen heute loslegen.
Aber
es ist Gamescom.
Ey, ich bin schon total kaputt, ne? Es ist 2. Tag und ich bin müde und ich wollte mich jetzt hier im Vault ein bisschen ausruhen.
Ja, nee, ist jetzt nicht. Wir haben Awakening, nämlich Dune Awakening ist heute am Start.
Stichwort, aber mein Stichwort ist auch Gothic 1, das Remake, worauf ich mich total freue heute. Aber was haben wir noch?
Civilization, da bin ich gespannt drauf. Turn-based und eine ganze Welt aufbauen, bin ich dabei.
Ja. Und mein kleines persönliches Highlight, aber ein feines Highlight definitiv auch Marvel Rivals. Haben wir auch neue Sachen da.
Sehr cool, na dann perfekt. Du triffst dich mit Captain America und ich mich mit Paul Atreides. Ab geht's.
Sehr guter Deal. Ne? Ich sag so, ciao, bis später.
Ja, Leute, ich bin's wieder hier aus dem Gamescom Studio 2024, aus der Halle 7. Und wir haben natürlich ein weiteres wundervolles Spiel hier zu besprechen, wo eine wundervolle Gästin auch bei mir hier im Studio ist. Das ist nämlich die gute Carrie und die ist Game Director von Avowed. Hi!
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for stopping by.
Well, thank you for having me.
So first question I have about this game is, I watch the trailer and I say, oh, this is gorgeous, but what's going on? Like, I know this is going to be an action RPG, right? Mm-hmm. But it's kind of hard to fathom what's actually going on. Can you try to explain as good as you can what this game is going to be about.
So there's a lot. So as you noted, it's a fantasy action RPG. It's set in the world of Eora, which is the setting that we developed for the Pillars of Eternity games. Specifically, it's set in the Living Lands, which is this very colorful island frontier with all of these different exotic biomes, which you've seen in the different trailers. You're going to explore it, you're going to fight monsters in it, and you're going to develop and discover this really deep and fascinating story that you're right in the middle of. It's a clash of civilizations, and also there's some metaphysical secrets as well, because it's a Pillars game.
Yeah, right. You mentioned Pillars of Eternity. So are we going to see some kind of crossovers and cameos? Can you tell us, or at least hint a little bit about this?
Sure. So there are a few familiar characters. Players who went through Deadfire might recognize Inquisitor Ludwig, who we've seen in one of the trailers now. So yeah, there are a few returning characters, definitely some familiar concepts. As always, souls are going to play a big part in the story. And again, you're right in the middle of it, talking to the characters and talking to the gods as well.
You also mentioned how colorful this game is. It pops into your eyes as soon as you see it, as you can see right there. How's the feedback on that? Because some people are like, oh, this is maybe a little too much. We want more dark fantasy. Does it really fit to the game? How is the feedback on that so far?
Yeah, I think, especially the further we've gotten in development and the more we've been able to polish our assets, and we've, been able to release some new footage. From what I've seen, players have been very excited about the way the world looks, the way combat and characters look, and we're really excited about bringing such a colorful corner of our world to our players.
And right now we can see there's a lot of different play styles we can approach. There's melee stuff and firearms. You can do magic. Which would you say is the best way? Is there a best way, or can you combine them all at once?
You can mix and match however you want. So if you like to lean into the classic fantasy archetypes of a wizard, a ranger, or a spellcaster, you can go 100% in one of those directions. But if you like to mix and match, like this character is, you can combine some spells with melee weapons. You can wield dual pistols and then, cast from a grimoire in your alternate loadout. So there are a lot of possibilities, and there are a lot of options for you as the player to build the character that you want to be in this world.
It sounds like a massive project, to be honest. For how long are you working on that right now?
Oh, goodness. I joined the project, I believe, at the beginning of 2021.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we've done a lot of work that we're very excited about, and the content that we're showing off here at Gamescom is definitely some of our best.
So Obsidian is kind of famous for good storytelling and nice, well-told quests.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to see some of that? Of course, maybe want to see something of that in Avowed, but is it going to be a crazy kind of approach, or is it very down to earth? Can you have maybe one example for us?
Sure. So, I think for a game like this, you always want to have a balance, right? The story that we're telling is larger than life. Again, it spans, ancient mysteries and the future of the living lands. But at the same time, you want to ground that in characters. It's about how does this develop you? How does this affect the lives of the people you meet? So the quest that we're showing off here at Gamescom, called Dawn Treader, is about the player character kind of searching for this missing expedition of their countrymen.
Oh, okay.
And in the course of it, they discover kind of this other godlike who's living in these ruins, and the secret that this character's been keeping. So it's, like a lot of our content, there are elements of it that are big and epic and mysterious, but then also just some really lovely grounded moments with the characters. And there's some very funny moments between these two brothers who you can meet along the way.
I am looking forward to the funny moments,
yes.
I can tell you. So what would you say is the favorite thing for you about the game? Do we have even one? Is there one favorite thing?
Oh goodness, it's hard to say, right? But as both a player and a developer, I really love companions.
Yes,
they're some of my favorite parts of RPGs that I play.
Sure.
They're so much fun to write, and I'm really excited about how the team has brought them to life, both in the narrative content and also in the gameplay. As we're seeing here, your companion Kai is a really integral part of your party.
Yeah.
And he can balance you out as kind of your tank, especially if you're playing more of a squishy spellcaster.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that a lot.
That's a great answer. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we're done for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Where can we play this specific demo you mentioned here at Gamescom?
Well, so unfortunately, it's not available for the general public, but everyone can wishlist Avowed on Xbox and Steam, and the game will release on February 18th.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Have fun at Gamescom.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you. Das war es erstmal wieder von uns hier aus dem Studio. Wie immer gilt, dranbleiben, damit ihr nichts verpasst. Bis gleich.
Ich bin jetzt hier bei den Home of Indies und hier gibt es das neue Naughty Pack von Jackbox TV. Für die von euch, die es noch nicht kennen, Jackbox TV ist so ein bisschen wie ein Gemeinschaftsgame, als würdest du mehrere Karten oder Boardgames auf einmal kaufen, die Gesellschaftsspiele sind, aber eben jeder, der ein Handy hat, kann sozusagen mitspielen. Du gibst dann so einen Code ein und dann sind alle im gleichen Spiel. Das kann zum Beispiel ein Trivia-Game sein oder so eine Art, so ein ähnliches Spiel wie Among Us oder Werwolf. Diesmal ist es wohl das Naughty Pack, was rausgekommen ist, also ein bisschen verruchtere Fragen oder Spiele. Wir gucken uns das Ganze mal an.
Willkommen bei Dirty Drawful. Ihr seid doch alle über 18, oder?
Willkommen bei Faking It All Night Long. Es ist soweit. Wer ist der Faker?
Hallo, willkommen bei Let Me Finish. Bereitet euch seelisch darauf vor, euch von Löffeln aufgeilen zu lassen.
Hinter uns zocken tatsächlich ein paar Leute schon, finde ich mega. Und ich habe jetzt hier die Belia gefunden, die uns ein bisschen erzählt, was es Neues bei Jackbox gibt. Belia, what's new with Jackbox?
Yeah, so this year we're going to be releasing our first ever PEGI 16 title, so our first adult title that we've ever done. Usually our games are approved for teen, usually teenagers to 30s is typically our audience, but this is the first time ever that we're releasing a game completely for adults. It's very mature, topics dealing with sex, drugs, a little bit of cartoon violence even, so pretty naughty.
Ooh, sounds like it's right up my alley actually. Es gibt ein neues Naughty Pack, also ja, ein bisschen verruchtere, gewagtere Fragen, ein bisschen sexuelle Themen oder auch ein bisschen was über Drogen und ein kleines bisschen Cartoon-Gewalt ist wohl auch dabei. That's really exciting actually to see. Can people already play this at your booth?
Yeah, so it's going to be coming out September 12th to all major platforms, including Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, and we're releasing it completely in German as well.
Oh, that's a first. That's really cool. Also es wird diesmal auch auf Deutsch eine Version geben und im September kommt das Ganze dann raus. Dann könnt ihr euch also eure Friends grabben und euch direkt auf die Couch pflanzen, ein bisschen Jackbox zocken. Jackbox is pretty iconic so far. Like either you know it or you don't, but if you know it, like people tend to love it, or at least like one specific area. Do you have a favorite?
Oh man, how do you choose between your favorite child, right? One of the reasons we love coming to Germany especially is a lot of people have fond memories of You Don't Know Jack from back in the 90s here. I guess that was pretty popular, but if I had to choose, right now we're playing Fibbage 4. This is a really fun game, kind of deceiving your friends, and I think I'm a pretty good liar, so.
Ooh, I love that too. Like just a little bit of, haha, played ya, right? That sounds fun. How's Gamescom been for you so far?
We were just in Gamescom LATAM in Brazil a couple months ago, and this is 12 times the size. It's so massive. This is by far the largest convention that I've ever been to. It's incredible to see such a diversity of games as well. So yeah, it's been a really great experience.
Wahnsinn, also in Brasilien waren sie jetzt auch schon gewesen, aber hier in Köln ist es natürlich größer, geiler und voller. Deswegen macht auf jeden Fall, sorgt dafür, dass sie weiterhin diese Meinung hat und kommt hier vorbei beim Home of Indies bei Jackbox.
Welcome back at Gamescom 2024, and I'm here to talk about a game that I'm honestly very bad at playing. I lose every time I try to play it. It's called Fragpunk, and I'm here with Jing. And
hi,
how are you doing?
Yeah, great. It's very nice. I'm nice being here.
How has Gamescom been for you so far?
在 Gamescom 的体验怎么样？Yeah, actually, this is my first day being in the Gamescom, and I've already feeling the excitement and welcomeness from the crowd just outside us.
Yeah. You should wait for the next couple of days. They will be crazy.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's talk about the game. I already said that sometimes I feel I'm a little bit too old for it. What was the main inspiration for Fragpunk? I see a lot of styles mixed together. How did the concept evolve during development?
对，其实因为我们整个这个团队其实
Actually, we are a group of very young players, especially in the FPS games, and all of our teams loves a visually appealing, colorful design. And this is also the principle behind our character and also our art style design. It's called color-based design, and we would like to use a very strong color and also the complementary colors to create a very strong contrast and to attract people's attention and catch them eyes on the first look they have seen our games.
设计的时候的一个初衷。
Right. Can you, since we're seeing some gameplay here, can you walk us through the core gameplay mechanics of Fragpunk? What sets it apart from other titles in the punk and shooter genre?
So, to give you a very brief introduction, Fragpunk is a 5v5 competitive FPS shooters, and we use the core gameplay is the search and destroy, and we run on the best of 7 matches. And what makes us really different to other FPS games is actually the card system. We call it the shot card. What we are trying to do with the shot card is that we want to create a very different experience for players to play our games, especially during each round. And we would like to add a suspense by adding the shot card system, allowing the players to choose from a selection of cards before each round, and these cards can change the rules for this specific round. And by adding these card systems, we would like to give the players more strategies to choose from, and not just the weapons or heroes. And now they can choose different rules to be activated in this single match. And by doing this, we want to make sure that players can experience no two similar rounds in their gameplay.
All right, but it sounds so easy. It sounds so, let's say, put together so easily. But were there any challenges that your team during development had to face and to overcome in terms of gameplay or mechanics that you encountered?
I would not say that we have met this is going to be a very difficult situation, but we actually have put a lot of effort in it. It's that because we want to provide the players more strategies, and we do not want these cards to be activated singly. So we want to give players a choice to activate multiple cards to play as a combo, or otherwise to counter your opponent's card. This is what we want players to experience.
Right. So you already mentioned that you put a lot of emphasis on both combat and strategy.
Yes.
How do you balance these elements to create a seamless gameplay experience? Because there's so many competitors out there that seem to struggle with the both. How did you manage to put it on an even scale?
You mean there are already so many competitive games in? You mean there are already?
Oh well, I just mean that as you just explained, there's a lot of emphasis on the strategy and on the combat, also what we saw in the gameplay. And how did you manage to even it out, to put it on, let's
balance
say,
it
on the balance? Yes, to balance it out.
对，其实平衡这一点是。
Actually, we would like to provide the players with more strategies. So as I just mentioned, you can play cards to counter your opponent's cards. This is one way to balance to make the match being overall balanced. And another way is that different cards will have different costs, but you only have limited resources for your team and also your opponents. So you have to make investment decisions whether to go all in a single match or to save for some rounds and to activate an even powerful cards. And we believe that by using these mechanics, we can achieve an overall balance for the matches. And we are also actively developing new tools and mechanics for the overall balance, and you can expect it to be shown in our future test.
大家可以去关注一下我们 B 测，因为现在它还在开发当中，所以还不方便透露。
Final question, since we're running out of time, and I would love to continue talking about the game, but what is your most favorite feature?
Should I say card, or it's a too big answer?
Yeah, well, you can say that, sure. If that's your most favorite feature, sure.
那首先是 card。其次呢，我觉得可能我比较喜欢的
So my favorite one is always going to be the card system. But apart from this, our weapon strategy is also my favorite one. So unlike other games that will equip an economic system to the weapons, we instead give money or the price for a weapon. We give times, the using times for a weapon. So you can choose different weapons according to the card being activated or the heroes you are using, and it was no limited.
用不同的枪，这么一种策略维度的体现啊。
Wonderful.
And another one is our very unique tiebreaker system. It's called the duel, because we run on a best of 7 matches, and when there are 3 versus 3 tied, and there will be a duel where you go 1-on-1 against your opponents in order chosen by you and your teammate. And it's very similar to the penalty shootout from the football games.
Yeah,
and we would like to recreate this kind of intense moment for our players to experience.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you very much, guys, for coming over today. I hope you enjoy the rest of Gamescom. I definitely will. And if you guys want to see me lose in a game, definitely meet me in a Fragpunk lobby soon. You guys stay tuned for more of Gamescom 2024 here at IGN.
Leute, hallo. Ich habe mein Stream-Team verloren. Team. Wo seid ihr eigentlich alle? Naja, wenn ihr euch versteckt, dann verstecke ich mich auch. Und zwar hinter dieser Maske einfach. Ihr werdet mich nie finden. Ich bin undercover. Ja, wir treffen uns dann in der Merch-Area, da findest du uns sofort, natürlich. Da sind ganz wenige Leute auch immer und alles ist total nicht am Blinken oder so. Oh mein Gott, da seid ihr. Bei den Teufelsfrüchten? Wow, okay, ich muss mich konzentrieren, Leute. Wir sind hier in der Merch-Halle der Gamescom 2024 und es ist ja nur aufregend. Alles blinkt, alles ist wunderschön, alles kostet Geld, aber das darf es ruhig. Denn hier sind auch viele Sachen ausgestellt von Artists von all over the world. Eigentlich die meisten Leute sprechen hier Englisch und fahren ihre ganzen Produkte bis nach Köln, um die hier für euch zum Verkauf darzustellen. Und das finde ich ziemlich cool. Ihr spart euch da eine Menge Kosten an Zoll und was nicht alles noch passiert. Also das ist auf jeden Fall eins meiner absoluten Highlights der Gamescom. Und wir schauen hier einfach mal durch, was es so alles zu kaufen gibt. Also hier musste ich jetzt noch mal genauer nachfragen. Ich habe hier die Winnie gefunden und die macht hier wirklich handmade jede einzelne von diesen coolen, fantastischen Glaskugeln. Und da habe ich doch einige Fragen. Hey Winnie, nice that you're talking to us. This is really, really cool. The details in this are so amazing. How did you get the idea? And you're making all of them yourself?
Yeah, we started about 8 years ago. We started with the poker balls, and then we started making different fan arts, like at the different animes. It's all handcraft, so it's all painted and carved and cut. It takes about 4 days to make one.
It's so cool. Like, how did you get all of them here? Like in boxes, or because they're so big?
Because we're from Sydney, so we actually had to put it in pallets. So we had 2 pallets flowing all the way from Sydney to here. and then we took the plane, yeah.
And see, the flight took so long that some of you already tried to break out.
No, you don't know your anime?
No, I do.
We captured him. He's actually trying to come out. So that is an effect.
It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, very different. Thank you.
Also ihr habt gehört, Winnie kommt aus Sydney und macht zusammen mit ihrem Mann diese ganzen Dinger selber. Das ist ultra spezial. Das mussten sie auch extra über Bangkok einfliegen lassen. Irgendwie mussten sie um den halben Globus mit den ganzen Dingern. Aber ich kann euch nur empfehlen, hier mal vorbeizuschauen. Euer Lieblings-Pokémon ist auf jeden Fall auch dabei. So, also hier ist alles pink und holo und wunderschön, deswegen musste ich sofort einmal hingehen. Das hier ist Elora. Hi, Elora.
Hiya, nice to meet you.
We're in the artists area, so this is the part where people are brave enough to show their art cases and sell them. So, yeah, Elora, tell us a little bit about all of this.
Well, first of all, I'm really excited to be able to do Gamescom this year. I know it's the first year they have a proper artist alley, so I'm really happy to be among all these amazing other artists, being able to display my work and be able to connect with people, especially people from the video game industry, because I'm heavily inspired by what they do. And yeah, as you can see, like you mentioned it's really colorful and holographic. And my work is inspired by color therapy, so I use a lot of pastel, purple and blue tones that are known to be really soothing for the brain. And I just decided to create a whole universe around it. And yeah, here you go.
Well, I can definitely confirm that my brain is soothed. So, das ist Eloras erstes Mal auf der Gamescom tatsächlich und es ist auch das erste Mal, dass die Gamescom so wirklich eine exklusive Artist Area hat. Und da möchte ich auf jeden Fall mal wissen, wie kommt es eigentlich dazu, so einen Stand zu bekommen? So, how did all of that happen? Did you just, are these were these stands a booth is available, or how do you book those, or?
So we heard that the artist alley was going to be a thing this year, and I know they were reaching out to a few artists, and they asked me if I could come over and sell my work. And I was like, yeah, sure, absolutely, count me in. I've never been to this convention before, and I've never been to Cologne as well, so I thought it was a fantastic opportunity.
Awesome, I can see why they asked you for sure. Wow, so I hope you have a great Gamescom and thanks for sharing.
Thank you, thanks so much.
Yeah, so wenn ihr hier seid in der Merch Area, schaut bei Elora vorbei. Die hat richtig schöne Sachen. Da, wo euer Gehirn direkt in Therapie geht, wenn ihr hinguckt. Das ist, wo ihr sie findet. Ich kann natürlich nicht über die Artist Alley laufen, ohne was zu kaufen. Ich habe jetzt für eine Freundin ein kleines Geschenk abgeholt und deswegen dachte ich frage doch auch gleich mal nach. Kannst du einmal kurz sagen, deinen Namen und wie du als Artist heißt?
Genau, also ihr könnt mich gerne Lean nennen und mein Artistname ist dann Lean on Arts.
Wahnsinn. Und du hast die alle hier selbst gezeichnet, entworfen, gemalert?
Ja, genau, also ich male digital auf dem Tablet, aber es ist alles... Also ich arbeite praktisch, wie man fast analog auch machen würde. Halt jeden Strich, der wird einzeln gesetzt. Ja.
Wahnsinn, ich finde den Vibe mega schön. Ist es dein erstes Mal auf der Gamescom?
Ja, genau. Es ist das erste Mal auf der Gamescom und insgesamt meine 5. Messe als Artist, als Verkäufer. Ja.
Mega schön. Also wenn euch sowas liegt hier, vielleicht eure Lieblings-Pokémons in ein bisschen romantisch, bisschen cozy, dann kommt hier auf jeden Fall vorbei. Uiuiui, also hier gibt es wirklich alles, was das Herz begehrt. Actionfiguren, Klamotten, Hüte, Kunst, alles. Also ein absolutes Highlight für mich und ich hoffe für euch auch. Schaut auf jeden Fall vorbei in der Merch Area. Ich finde, das ist auch ein Essential einfach. Also das ist einfach, wenn ihr nicht so eine Nackenschlangendrachen in eurem Schrank habt, dann weiß ich nicht, was ihr macht eigentlich mit eurem Leben. Also ich kann das nur empfehlen.
Welcome back. This is Gamescom Studio live on IGN, and we're here in Cologne, and the show floor is buzzing. Everyone is loving the games, but I'm here for one specific game. I'm here for Civilization VII with Ed Beach, the creative director, and yeah, I wanted to know the most important thing since Gamescom is about the community. How has the community contributed to Civilization VII?
So we are always looking at
input from the community, and we've had 8 years between games, so we've had a lot of time to look at the community. One thing has stuck out as something that I personally want, but the community keeps hammering on over again. And it doesn't seem like the largest thing in our game, but just the way the rivers are represented is very deeply important to the community.
But it seems so random.
Oh, I know. But in Civ 6, they went along the edges of the tiles, and units are always in one tile or another. So you would have to cross the river to get to the other side. But what the community wanted, and what is actually a brilliant change that we have working in Civilization VII, are navigable rivers. So the rivers now run through the middle of the tiles, and if you get a large, the Rhine River, for instance, right outside here in Cologne, it's hugely important how navigable it is and the shipping traffic and so forth. We have that working in the game. It makes an amazing difference to the gameplay that's a huge natural barrier, but you can also have a city that's way inland and can still get out to the sea. And our fans have been requesting it forever. We actually didn't make a big deal about it in the PR announcements yesterday. We just showed ships doing that, and people were going nuts for it.
Very smart. Yeah. And this is a detail that I think most people don't even notice in the beginning. But can you talk a little bit more about the new core features compared to Civ VI?
So the big new core feature is we have divided the game up into 3 large chunky chapters that we're calling ages. Before, the game did have divisions. They were called eras, but they were much smaller. They're less impactful on the play because we didn't really change the game rules from one era to another. Now we're representing big, broad strokes through history. And with the game divided like that, we can change things. So for instance, the trade system works very differently in one age to another. And it's allowed us to also manage sort of the explosive growth that a Civilization type game has, where you have so many things to manage late in the game. Now with our ages system, we reset a few things, tame things down a little bit for the start of the new age, and give the players a little bit of space to breathe. And we really think that's going to help people get and see the end of the game more often than in the past.
Mm-hmm. And you just mentioned 8 years between 6 and 7, which is an amazing long time to come up with a sequel. And so many things technology-wise have changed. And right now everyone is talking about AI. Yeah. How has AI influenced the new system in Civ 7?
I wouldn't say that the consumer AI usages have been able to be directly inserted in the game. There's a lot of sort of supporting things our studio gets out of AI, but we're not really shipping anything from AI engines, for instance, within our game. What we have done is we have taken a very thoughtful approach to what we've learned about doing our own AI in previous titles and trying to revisit that a little bit this time. One of the key changes there is because of the ages system and breaking the game up into those different chapters, we can get it so that as the game resets, if the AI is too far ahead, the player gets a little bit of a catch-up. If the AI is a little bit ahead, then the player gets some catch-up. And it's just kept the pacing. And in the past, we gave the AI crazy bonuses at the beginning of the game and just said, see if you can catch up to this. And that frustrated a lot of our players, and we don't have to do that anymore.
It also sounds like you're trying to bridge that gap between new players and players that have a lot of experience in these kind of games. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you try to basically involve everyone a little bit more with that system?
Yeah, one of our design pillars for a game was depth, not complexity. So Civ 6 could get kind of convoluted, where you're trying to understand, like, this Civ has a description of its bonuses and it's 5 or 6 lines long, and now we're trying to make it so every little presentation of a Civ or a leader or a wonder of the world is nice and short and brief. But what happens is you pick a civilization and they have their own unique culture tree that you get to start advancing in. And so our civilizations are way more involved than they used to be in the past. They have many more bonuses, but they're not all unlocked at once. You start with something nice and simple, and then you proceed through the game, getting more and more into your Roman culture, for instance, and you're like, oh, now my legions are pretty good. Now my legions are really, really good. And all those bonuses that would have had to be presented to the player all at once, you're accumulating them over time. You get them in little bits and bytes, and it's much more manageable for someone to understand, but all that power is still there.
All right, all right. As a former history teacher, I have to ask that question because every time I play a sim or whatever kind of game that as you just mentioned, goes into Roman or Greek history, I wonder how much, or will Civ VII place a stronger emphasis on historical accuracy?
So what it does do is it gets rid of one of the biggest, craziest historical inaccuracies we had in the past was that if you chose to play as Germany or as America, in the beginning of the game, you would start the game and you're in 4000 BC. And your civilization didn't really do anything remarkable in 4000 BC. Sure. So you have no bonuses at all. And those civilizations actually are, when in our multiplayer community, no one will choose them because they know that it's all about the action early in the game, and why should I play with a Civ with no bonuses? Now with our Aegis system, you always start out with some sort of foundational civilization that was powerful and one of the preeminent empires of that particular historical time. So both Germany and America could both start with Rome or Greece. Yeah. Those are both logical pathways to get to Germany or America. And Greece and Rome, they're fun to play with in the beginning of the game. They have legions, they have hoplites, they're just as powerful as anyone on the map. And so that's a whole new structure for things, but you feel more connected to that part of history because America connected to 4000 BC. Did that feel right?
Yeah.
Now there are some interesting combinations that players can have. They can mix one leader with another one. We don't do that by default, but the players can opt into that. So this is not a history simulator. It's still a very free-form sandbox where there are lots of historical elements like every Civ game has been. But if you want to double down on your history, this is the best place to do it. Civ 7 has it more than anywhere else.
Right. Before we come to an end, one quick question with a very quick answer, please. What is the one thing that you love that is an improvement from 6 to 7 that you always wanted and is now coming to fruition?
Army commanders that can control a whole bunch of units at once, make it very quick to get across the map. They're a brilliant new mechanic that our player base is going to love.
There we have it. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the show. You guys, please stay tuned. We have a lot more coming here at Gamescom 2024.
Willkommen zurück im Gamescom Studio 2024 live von der Gamescom in Halle 7 und wir haben natürlich wieder fantastische Gäste für euch auf Lager. Und zwar haben wir hier eine ganze Gruppe von Leuten, die fleißig wie Bienchen an Marvel Rivals arbeiten. Heißen wir sie doch herzlich willkommen. Welcome guys, thank you for coming over.
Thank you for inviting us.
Sure, of course. So, let's talk business because Marvel is a very, very big brand, right? It's a huge thing, maybe the biggest in the world. When you guys started this, is there any doubt or fear of maybe like not fulfilling expectations? How is that?
We are always cautiously optimistic. We collaborated at Marvel with NetEase Games for a longest time on a few titles. And Marvel fans has always been asking, hey, we need player versus player games from Marvel. So thank God we found the NetEase Games team who share the same passion to create this 6 versus 6 superhero team-based hero shooter.
Yeah, why did you decide to do a hero shooter exactly? Maybe it could have been a brawler instead. There's so many options. Why is it a hero shooter?
You want to answer?
OK， 首先我们觉得漫威宇宙它拥有非常多的超级英雄。
All right, so in the Marvel universe, there's lots of characters, heroes in it. So that is naturally fitting this genre.
只有玩家们。
Oh yeah, sure. Clearly, we can see some gameplay right there. This is actually the stuff you revealed at opening night live, right? We see Captain America there, we saw the Winter Soldier. How many characters will we see at launch?
So far we have announced 25 playable characters. Players can play at the gamescom right now. But please look forward to more content from now till launch. We will definitely reveal a few surprises for everyone.
Yeah, hopefully. What does make Marvel Rivals special compared to other hero shooters? Maybe except for like being iconic characters, maybe gameplay-wise.
So in terms of Marvel heroes, these iconic Marvel heroes, coupled with, if you look at the comic pages, we always like to have team up.
Yes.
So one of the special features for the game is we emphasize team up abilities where you can team up with another heroes to provide unique gameplay advantage. And then the third pillar is really the creative destruction. So with superhero going each other, something got to break. So,
yes, of course.
So we make use of the environment, with strategic advantage, like how you want to provide cover or open a new path. It's totally up to you to work with your teammates.
Speaking of like atmosphere and the feeling, how many stages will there be from the get-go? I think you released like 2 or 3 already, or let us know about them.
So far we playable worlds that we have 2. One is Eastgard, it's an Asgard-inspired location, and then Tokyo 2099, which is Spider-Verse in a futuristic Tokyo.
Sure, yeah.
And then at Gamescom, we reviewed the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, which is Wakanda in space. That's a world itself. We haven't reviewed the details on the map. We're looking forward to share that as we move towards launch. And then, of course, we have surprises. We tease something at the end with Dr. Doom playing his 5D chess with the gods of each reality, basically.
So there's going to be more to it, like just being a simple hero shooter. As far as I understand, there will be lore involved, right? That this is a massive thing. This is like a multiverse. There's so many stories to tell. Which one are you going to focus on?
Basically, the NetEase narrative team have crafted this Marvel Rivals world as its own world, inspired by over 85 years of Marvel history. There are stories and characteristics that a fan might be familiar with, and that's also something new that is uniquely Marvel Rivals. Fans can play this game for each character, what their learn about what their role in this world, and please look forward to their perspective changes as the time goes, as we go past launch, like what happened to the world of Marvel Rivals. Like in the case of Eastgard, where Loki is the king, and he declares a king, what happened there? And that's a lore behind it. In the Tokyo web world, there's this rift crack open in the sky, and they're trying to save it by patching it. What happened there? And this story unfolds itself via the gameplay objectives as well. As you play the game, you learn more about the world. We have worked with the team, planted a lot of Easter eggs throughout the maps as well.
So how are the different characters varied in their style of combat? Because I imagine they need a unique style, each one of them. So how do you guys do that?
Okay. So when we're designing this heroes, we want to make this hero like this hero. So to bring you an example of the new character, which is the Winter Soldier. So Winter Soldier and the Punisher, they are all gun-based in characters, but we make something special for the Winter Soldier to make him differentiate from the Punisher.
Yeah, sure. I imagine it involves some kind of arm thing, because he's very strong with his one arm, right?
Yeah, his core character is about his mechanical arm. You might be familiar with his mechanical arm from the comics and movies, but in Marvel Rivals, if you pay attention to his mechanical arm, it's actually has tentacles coming out. So what happened there is yet to be seen. Like, what is his role with his tentacle arm in Marvel Rivals?
I see. Okay, guys, where can I find your booth here at Gamescom if I want to try the game?
Do you remember the booth number?
Yeah. 我们在 H6, Hall 6.
Hall 6?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for showing up. It looks great. Very interesting game. Good luck with that and have fun at Gamescom.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ja, das war es erstmal von hier aus dem Studio. Wie immer ist natürlich zu sagen, bleibt dran, denn wir haben viele spannende Themen für euch parat. Bis gleich.
Richtig viel Sand und Leute mit Schläuchen in der Nase. Ja, das ist doch Dune. Wir sind hier am Stand von Dune Awakening und da schauen wir uns mal genauer an, was es hier alles zu entdecken gibt in den Tiefen des Sandes. Oh, du Süßer. Ich wurde jetzt zum Glück vor diesem riesigen Sandwurm gerettet und zwar von Mario. Danke dafür nochmal.
Hallo.
Und dann habe ich doch gleich auch mal ein paar Fragen für dich mitgebracht. Also zum einen Dune Awakening ist jetzt das erste Spiel von dem Dune-Film. Was war deine Aufgabe?
Ich bin, ja, wie gesagt, der Associate Art Director für die Fahrzeuge zuständig. Ja, für uns war es sehr wichtig, halt auch Fahrzeuge ins Spiel zu bringen, wie man sie auch im Film sieht. Wir hatten aber komplette Freiheit, was das angeht. Also unsere Designs sind sehr eigen und ja, ich freue mich darauf, wie die Spieler die Fahrzeuge aufnehmen werden.
Das heißt, ihr habt euch ja natürlich von dem Film auch inspirieren lassen. Gibt es ein Lieblingsfahrzeug, was man im Spiel sehen kann?
Speziell natürlich die Fahrzeuge, die ich selber auch gebaut habe. Der Atreides Ornithopter, den man leider hier jetzt nicht nirgendwo sieht, aber wir haben von allen Fraktionen sozusagen, die im Spiel jetzt erstmal für Launch verfügbar sein werden, auch Fahrzeuge in verschiedenen Klassen da. Ich liebe den Tank von Chaum. Ja, also eigentlich jedes Fahrzeug ist mein Lieblingsfahrzeug. Das sind meine kleinen Babys, ich liebe die.
Oh, das ist immer schön, wenn Leute so leidenschaftlich auf ihre Arbeit zurückblicken. Hier habt ihr ja jetzt ordentlich aufgetankt auf der Messe, Riesenwurm hingestellt und man kann wahrscheinlich auch schon das Spiel ein bisschen anspielen, oder?
Ja, das ist aber nur für ja, closed doors, also in dem Sinne nur für ausgewähltes Publikum. Es ist eine halbe Stunde ungefähr Spielzeit und so ein bisschen den Anfangsbereich oder beziehungsweise das Tutorial-Bereich und die ersten Schritte sozusagen im Spiel, die kann man dann ein bisschen antesten.
Super. Und wie gefällt es dir bisher auf der Gamescom? Was würdest du sagen, habt ihr bisher so mitgenommen von der Fan-Reception?
Also bisher war soweit das Feedback sehr positiv und wir sind sehr froh natürlich. Wir haben jetzt fast 5 Jahre an dem Spiel gearbeitet. Das ist natürlich eine lange Zeit und man freut sich natürlich, wenn man es dann endlich an die Spieler ein bisschen zeigen kann. Gerade auch mit diesem 30 Minuten Video, was wir haben. Ja, und bisher, wie gesagt, das Feedback war sehr positiv und wir freuen uns.
In Dune kann man sich ja am Anfang, so wie ich es verstanden habe, eine Fraktion auswählen. Hast du da eine Lieblingsfraktion schon oder was wäre die du ausgewählt hättest?
Also es ist nicht gleich ganz am Anfang, also man muss schon ein bisschen spielen und dann hat man die Möglichkeit, wenn man möchte, sich einer Fraktion anzuschließen. Im Moment für Launch haben wir nur Atreides und Harkonnen, aber danach werden es später noch welche hinzugefügt. Es gibt halt auch verschiedene große Häuser natürlich, wie auch im Dune-Universum bekannt ist. Welche Rolle die spielen, darüber können wir natürlich noch nicht viel sagen. Aber meine Lieblingsfraktion ist eigentlich Atreides, aber ich mag halt eben auch die Harkonnen-Fahrzeuge, deswegen, naja.
Ja, die sind halt stylisch, die sind so weird und evil, aber die haben es halt irgendwo auch drauf. Also wir sind auf jeden Fall ganz begeistert und freuen uns schon auf den Release vom Spiel. Wann ist es soweit?
Ja, da fragst du mal wieder was. Ja, wir dürfen uns noch nicht äußern. Also offiziell wurde Anfang 2025 angesagt. Wann das genau sein wird, wird sich noch zeigen.
Ist doch auch super. Also wenn ihr möchtet, schaut hier auf jeden Fall vorbei beim Dune Awakening Booth. Und ja, wir schauen uns noch ein bisschen weiter um. Ich bin jetzt hier mit Joel aus dem Dev-Team und ja, da würde ich natürlich gleich mal ein paar Fragen stellen. Hi Joel, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I've been attacked by a giant worm for a second, but we're friends now, so... yeah, tell us about your role in the video game Dune Awakening.
Sure, my name's Joel. I'm the creative director on Dune Awakening. So yeah, kind of setting the vision, making sure that the team gets things up to quality and yeah, delivers the game we're trying to make.
All right, that's so cool. So we've seen at Opening Night Live already some clips, some gameplay, and it looked really cool so far. What has the reception been like?
I mean, kind of overwhelming. People are really excited, and it's been super interesting. We have people playing hands-on as well, and they're giving me feedback and telling me this could be a little better, but this is great, and I like this. So, you know, lots of stuff coming in and time to absorb and think about, and then, get things in place. But yeah, overwhelmingly positive for the most part.
Okay, also bisher ist die Fan-Reception jetzt ziemlich positiv. Also die haben wirklich, hören sich gerne an, was die Fans zu sagen haben, gucken dann, ob sie das auch inkorporieren können in die Spielentwicklung. How far ahead are you? Like, is there, if some fans would be like, oh, I think this and this would be really cool, is that something where it's like realistic to change it at this point, or?
I mean, because we're going to be a live game and an online game, we can change things post-launch. So yeah, of course. It's a bit late in development now to actually change major features, but we can do minor tweaks, improve the user experience, and of course, like post-launch, we can add new things.
Oh, that's amazing. So from what we've seen, there's like some fractions that you can pick in the game. Is that something that was like an idea from the start? Because I think that's like what is really interesting about the world of Dune is the different planets and like everyone's like after the spice and all that.
Yeah, so the idea is we wanted to make a survival game that starts like as a pure survival, and then you get to the end and it's like a political survival game. So as you play the game, you join the different factions, like you can choose Atreides or Harkonnen, and then you get into the guild politics and you start having to deal with the Emperor and deal with the universe at a larger scale. So that's kind of the idea behind that, yeah.
That's exciting. Also man kann sich sozusagen von den Fraktionen sich unterschiedlich orientieren, aber am Anfang gilt es eigentlich los als Survival-Spiel. Also dass man wirklich einfach nur versucht, auf diesem Planeten irgendwie über die Runden zu kommen. Und später wird das Ganze dann erst politisch. Dune ist ja auch so ein bisschen wie das Game of Thrones in Space. Und das wird dann sozusagen später dann noch wichtig, wenn man sich Fraktionen aussucht und mit dem Emperor umgehen muss. Yes, so... I mean, of course you can't spoil anything, but, you know, there is gonna be a huge worm involved, at least once. So are they more of an opposing force, or are they actually, can you like ride them?
Yeah, so we won't do riding sandworms at launch, but the sandworms themselves are like a tension mechanic in the game. And we kind of always say that every time you step on the sand, it's like you hear the Jaws music start. And you know that something's coming to eat you, right? Like, so you got to be very careful. So it's really about creating tension every time you move between the spaces in the world.
Oh, that's so cool. And will there be any spoilers for the book in the game, or is it like completely separate from the main story in the books? Because I personally haven't read them. I'm at this point where they are at in the movies.
Yeah, so the game is an alternate history to the universe from the books, so we kind of branch off at a certain point and then go from there. So it's kind of completely new, so that people who don't know Dune very well will have a new experience, and people who do know Dune will find something new to find out.
Okay, also ihr müsst jetzt noch nicht die ganzen Bücher gelesen haben, bevor ihr das Spiel spielt. Es ist ein alternatives Universum, in dem es ja, eben auch andere Handlungsstränge gibt, als die ihr jetzt vielleicht aus den Büchern kennt. Für mich super, ich bin jetzt auch erst da, wo man beim zweiten Film eben ist. Deswegen freue ich mich da schon sehr. So, for the last question, how are you enjoying Gamescom? Has it been good so far?
It's a lot of fun, yeah, it's really exciting. A lot of energy, you know, and that keeps me awake and keeps me excited because, yeah, there's some very late nights as well. So, you know, a lot of fun.
Ja, also es ist natürlich fantastisch hier. Die Leute sind gut drauf und das energisiert einen dann eben selber auch, besonders wenn man am Abend vielleicht einen gehoben hat. All right, all the best of luck to you for this Gamescom, and thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Suffering, desolation, horror. This is the road we know in Sanctuary. However, some of us have taken a different path. Bound by secrecy, ready to stand and fight for those who seek us out. My shield is your protection. There was a time we fought the vilest of sanctuary.
You fools get uglier and uglier.
Until we were left with only our inner demons. But the return of hatred has pulled us back into the light.
Your blood feeds my blade!
And though we now wait, watching from the shadows, we cannot escape who we are. Why we fight.
Please, no! Stay away!
Or the fury that burns within us. I have your back.
I'm with you!
I will not let you down.
Stay back!
See it. Shoot it.
Reach your maker!
Catch!
Strength in numbers.
I am your guardian.
I am your redemption.
I am your vengeance! I am your rage!
We are the Pale Hand, and we are the reason you need never fight alone.
Willkommen zurück im Gamescom-Studio, hier live auf der Gamescom 2024 und die nächsten Gäste sind natürlich schon am Start und ich bin froh, dass sie hier sind. Von Blizzard haben wir hier Tiffany und Brand. Hi.
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 How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you for having us.
Of course, of course. So, I'm happy to talk to you about Diablo IV, right? So, how's the team? Like, you have been working on this game for like constantly now. How is everybody? How's the spirit?
Honestly, the team they're fans first and foremost.
Yeah.
So, like seeing all this stuff come to life, and
Yeah.
we put a lot of hard work into everything. But the payoff is like when we start to announce all the things that are going on in the game and seeing the fan reception, it's pretty amazing. So spirits are high.
Yeah, everybody I feel like is a hardcore fan of Diablo, so you know, getting to create the game that you want to play is exciting, and being able to finally announce what you've been working on to the world. We personally can't wait to get it out to the players so that we can play it ourselves.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
Sure,
even at night in our hotel rooms, we're talking about, you know, what characters we're playing on the latest season.
So we're of course all waiting for Vessel of Hatred. Sure. Can you tell us a little bit more about that without like spoiling too much, of course?
There's a lot that we are releasing in this expansion. We have a whole new region that's going to have an incredibly awesome new look, going back to the jungle. I think that's huge.
Mhm.
We're continuing the story that we started in the original launch of the game.
Yeah.
So we're going to learn more about Neyrelle. We're going to learn more about Mephisto. We got a brand new class, which I think is huge. We've got multiple new ways to play. We've got new ways to gain power. I mean, there's so much to get when you get Vessel of Hatred. I'm excited for the fans to see that.
Yeah, this is, I think, the first time players get to try out the Spiritborn here at Gamescom, so I'm excited to see what everybody thinks about that. We're introducing this brand new class, as Brent mentioned, to Diablo IV and to Diablo as a franchise, and just being able to it's a class that you can customize the way that you're playing. There's so much that the class brings to the table. And then Brent mentioned, we're bringing mercenaries to the table, which are followers that have their own skill trees that really additionally enhance the way that you can customize your build and your play style. There's a ton that Vessel of Hatred is bringing to the players.
So speaking about the Spiritborn, I noticed they have kind of an indigenous touch. So can you elaborate on that? What was the idea behind this class?
Yeah, it was really important to us that when we made the class that it came from the region that it was that we were developing, right? We want everything to be nice and cohesive thematically. and going to the jungle, there was a lot of inspiration that we could pull from all across the globe. Many different types of jungles and mythologies and things that we could build into. And so we really wanted to make sure that we paired those themes with something that was also from the game, because Nahantu is a region that is not unfamiliar to Sanctuary, right? Like, we've been there in D2, and it's a very spiritual place. It's got right on the veil of going into the spirit realm, and so we use these two things to come up with the class to have a tight connection with the spirit guardians that are a part of that region.
So, for the expansion coming up, what do you think are you most proud of?
There's so much,
the whole
honestly.
The whole thing. I mean, it's a game for everybody.
Yep.
So, like, if you ask any developer that question, I think you're going to get a different answer.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and like, I love lore. I love where we're going with the story. I love the cinematics that we've been putting together. The campaign's fantastic. I like being in a new region to just kind of freshen things up. So
yeah, I've been working on monsters on Diablo for a long time, so I love the new monster families that we're bringing. The Hollows, the Dregs, we're bringing back the Lacunae, which are a fan favorite from both Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. I also just love, like I was saying, the player customization, the enhancements to the classes themselves, building upon the play styles, giving the players just more control over their experience in Diablo 4. There's just a lot.
I also like the fact that we're taking the opportunity to experiment with the new ways to play. Right, like at the core of Diablo, it's about killing monsters and getting loot.
Sure.
And the more we introduce to find new ways of doing that are like, I think it keeps things really fresh and keeps it going. So you've got like the Kuros Undercity, where it's like you actually can control at the beginning of the experience what types of challenges you're going to see, and so you have agency over what the dungeon play is going to look like, and you have influence over the type of loot that you're going to get from that. And that's just experimenting with stuff like that is super important, and to have the chance to actually introduce some new ways to play has been huge.
There's one final thing I want to know, actually. The game has been out for a while. How are you working with the community? Because I can imagine they give a lot of feedback, right?
Oh, yeah.
Very passionate community.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we've been really dialing that up. Over the last month, we've had multiple community events where we are sitting down with our content creators and we're having one-on-one discussions. We've been bringing them out to campus. We met with some up in Seattle when we did our live stream just the other week, and those are very candid conversations, and that's the place we want to be. We want to be able to have that healthy tension of the things that, because this game is not our game anymore, right? It's the fans' game.
Yeah.
And I love being in that spot because it makes our decision making so much clearer and knowing what they want.
Yeah, our community is, I think what's great about the modern community is that we are able to communicate with them very frequently, very often. So being able to get that feedback on a daily basis and working with that and hearing how the players feel about our game is really, really crucial in helping us develop it, and letting us know if we need some course correction or just how they feel about some of the features that are coming up.
All right. Thank you guys so much for visiting today. Good luck.
Thank you.
With the game. And we can actually play Vessel of Hatred here, right?
Oh, absolutely. If you're here, check out the booth. It's the coolest booth in the place.
It's
You get to walk through the river gate to go play the demo. We have a demo on the floor, plenty of stations to go check out.
Yeah, you can definitely try out the Spiritborn. You can see some of those new monster families that we're so proud of. See some of the new region of Nahantu. Yeah, it's very, very exciting.
Nice. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Das war's von uns erstmal hier wieder aus der wunderschönen Halle 7. Wir sehen uns gleich wieder. Willkommen zurück im Gamescom Studio 2024. Es geht heiter weiter. mit bunten und illustren Gästen. Und jetzt bin ich sehr stolz. Es ist nämlich eine deutsche Tradition quasi, über Anno-Spiele zu sprechen. Und deswegen bin ich froh, dass du hier bist, lieber Manuel. Hallo, willkommen.
Hallo und danke, dass ich hier sein darf.
Sehr, sehr gerne. Du bist Creative Director von Anno 117 oder 117. Wie sagt ihr es?
Wir sagen intern 117.
117.
Und das versuchen wir auch in der Kommunikation so dann
Pax
zu verwenden.
Romana noch schön hinten dran gehangen.
Genau.
Ich bin sehr, sehr froh, dass du hier bist. Ich frage mich, wie viel können wir überhaupt über das Spiel sprechen? Es ist ja noch ganz, ganz wenig bisher bekannt.
Wir halten uns leider auch noch sehr bedeckt bei den Dingen, die wir so preisgeben. Aber ein bisschen was haben wir mitgebracht auch zur Gamescom. Und wir haben ja im Juni das Spiel revealed auf der Ubisoft Forward, was schon mal ein großer Moment war für uns. Und jetzt fangen wir langsam an, dann über das Spiel mehr und mehr zu sprechen.
Vorher würde ich aber noch gerne wissen, wie vielte Anno ist denn das für dich persönlich jetzt?
Für mich ist es das 3. Anno, aber ich habe in anderen Positionen gearbeitet. Aber das 3. Anno, ich bin seit 11 Jahren dabei an Anno.
Und du scheinst ja Gefallen an diesem Genre gefunden zu haben, wenn du an so vielen Anno-Spielen schon mitarbeitest. Was macht Anno denn für dich aus?
Für mich ist es, ich finde es sehr relaxed, Anno zu spielen. Es ist eine schöne Welt, in der man wirklich gerne und viel Zeit drin verbringt. Und du kannst dich richtig fallen lassen. Und dann ist auch eine gewisse Challenge dabei. Das heißt, du kannst coole Erfolge feiern da drin und du kannst viel ausprobieren. Ich mag Sandbox-Spiele sehr gerne.
Ja, okay, dann ist das natürlich genau das richtige Genre für dich. Creative Director ist ja jetzt dein Jobtitel, deine Bezeichnung. Was bedeutet das denn konkret als Arbeitsauftrag bei so einem Spiel?
Also ich bin dafür zuständig, am Anfang von so einem Projekt eine Vision zu erarbeiten. Das mache ich natürlich nicht alles alleine, sondern mit einem Team zusammen. Und dann auch diese Version so weit auszuformen, dass wir die gut erzählen können und so, dass die Leute, mit denen wir arbeiten und auch etwas sehen, was noch nicht existiert aktuell. Ja? Und wenn wir dann die Vision formuliert haben und wir sind allein und wir haben das Team hinter uns, dann müssen wir natürlich auch in unserem Fall mit unserem Headquarter sprechen, Ubisoft, und versuchen auch die zu überzeugen, sodass wir die Mittel bekommen, um das Spiel zu realisieren. Und wenn die ganze Produktion angelaufen ist, dann bin ich auch dafür zuständig zu schauen, dass wir auch an dem Ziel ankommen. Und ähnlich wie bei einer Expedition zum Beispiel, du weißt nie, was auf dem Weg passiert. Und das heißt, du musst halt immer wieder dann das Schiff in verschiedene Richtungen steuern oder gegensteuern, um da anzukommen, wo wir hinwollen.
Aber nach so vielen Anno-Titeln, ne, könnt ihr ja nicht einfach hingehen und sagen, ey Ubisoft, das machen wir so. Sagen die dann nicht, ja klar, ich meine, wir vertrauen euch, ihr habt so viele coole Spiele rausgebracht, macht ihr mal, wie ihr denkt.
Aber wir haben auf alle Fälle viel Vertrauen auch von Ubisoft, das stimmt schon, aber trotzdem wollen wir mit jedem Anno ja auch ein bisschen neue Innovationen einbringen und gewisse Risiken eingehen, und deshalb muss schon genau geprüft werden, wo wollen wir hin, was machen wir als nächstes, und darum ist es schon richtig, dass uns jemand ein bisschen auf die Finger schaut und was wir da machen.
Du sprichst von Innovationen. Kannst du uns denn erzählen, was genau ihr neu oder anders machen wollt?
Genau, also so viel kann ich noch nicht erzählen, aber was wir ja auch schon revealed haben, ist, dass wir mehr Entscheidungen für die Spieler einbauen wollen und ein bisschen weniger linear werden, wie es in 1800 zum Beispiel war. Ein Beispiel ist, dass du dieses Mal zum ersten Mal in Anno dir die Startprovinz aussuchen kannst, wo du starten möchtest, in Albion oder in Latium, und es wird sich ganz anders anfühlen. Und wir haben ja auch hier auf der Gamescom sprechen wir zum ersten Mal auch über ein ganz neues Feature, das wir mitbringen, das Feature der Romanisierung, und das ist eigentlich mehr als ein Feature, es ist fast schon ein Thema fürs Spiel. Das wirst du in verschiedensten Bereichen im Spiel finden. Und da geht es darum, dass du dir den traditionellen keltischen Weg oder eher den römischen Weg aussuchen kannst. Auch das ist wieder eine große Entscheidung.
Ja, es steckt vielleicht auch schon im Namen, Pax Romana, der kleine Hinweis, wohin die Reise gehen könnte. 2. Jahrhundert habt ihr jetzt gesagt. Warum ist das letzten Endes das, wofür ihr euch entschieden habt?
Das ist ein super ideales Setting für uns und auch für die Spieler natürlich, weil das ist wirklich das Peak Rom. Rom hat die größte Ausdehnung erreicht. Das ist die Zeit nach den großen Eroberungsfeldzügen, und das ganze Empire ist dort in der Phase von fast 200 Jahren, wo Frieden herrscht. Das passt auch sehr gut zu Anno. Wir sind ja auch im Grundton eher ein friedliches Spiel, obwohl es Drama gibt und obwohl es auch Militär gibt. Aber die Geschichten, die wir damit erzählen können, mit dem riesigen Empire, wo so viele verschiedene Kulturen zusammenleben, ist etwas, das wir sehr gut ausschöpfen wollen, und wir denken auch, dass den Spielern super gefallen wird.
Ich finde die Idee auf jeden Fall auch sehr gut. Ich finde, ihr habt die richtige Entscheidung getroffen. Ich bitte euch um eine andere Entscheidung, die ihr gerne treffen dürft. Bitte nicht hauen. Ich wünsche mir seit Jahren einen neuen Werbespot mit Sky Dumont. Könnt ihr das bitte realisieren?
Ich kann mit unserer Branddirektorin mal drüber spielen und mal schauen, was sie davon hält.
Das Ding, ich meine, das war bei 1701, es würde numerisch passen.
Ja.
Ja, und es ist ein Kult geworden. Von daher, wir wünschen uns alles Sky Dumont zurück. Ich gebe die Bitte an dich
Alles
weiter.
klar, nehme ich mit.
Und hoffe natürlich auf ein spannendes Ergebnis, was das angeht. Dir auf jeden Fall vielen Dank für deine Zeit.
Alles
Schön,
klar.
dass wir ein bisschen mehr erfahren durften über Anno. Komm gerne wieder mit mehr Infos das nächste Mal.
Werde ich machen. Vielen lieben Dank.
Sehr, sehr gerne. Ja, Leute, das war es erstmal hier aus dem Studio. Wie ihr wisst, sind wir bald zurück mit weiteren spannenden Themen. Also dranbleiben. Bis gleich. Willkommen zurück im Gamescom-Studio aus Halle 7 auf der Gamescom 2024. Und es geht weiter mit illustren Gästen hier bei uns im Stream. Jetzt bei mir habe ich eine junge Frau, die uns mehr über Little Nightmares 3 erzählen will. Die gute Coralie. Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Good you're here because I have a couple of questions regarding Little Nightmares 3. So exciting to see that another one of those beautiful games are coming out. But there's one thing that's like significantly different, which is there's a new developing team behind this game. Why do you think Supermassive Games is the right developer for this game?
Yeah, so when we had to find a studio for Little Nightmares 3, we have think about Supermassive Games because of the knowledge of horror games first, but also of multiplayer games. Because we already knew that we wanted to make Little Nightmares 3 an online co-op game, because it's one of the features that are the most required by the community, and it's really important for us to please them.
So this is where you actually started from scratch as doing a multiplayer game, but why did you decide to do it as an online opportunity and not as what I would expect maybe a couch co-op game?
So we decided to go with online co-op first because it's really important for us to keep the atmosphere, to keep the player in that beautiful Little Nightmares atmosphere, and so that will allow us to keep a big screen. So we don't have a split screen, and we can use that big screen to do beautiful shots, but also to help us with developing the puzzles. So it's a bit better for us to have puzzles that only have that framing and not bother with two framings.
Oh yeah, I never thought about it. That actually makes a lot of sense. We have exclusive new material from the ONL yesterday, so maybe we can kind of comment on that because we know the dense atmosphere of Little Nightmares games. What are we going to expect in this game? It's a place called the Spiral, I think.
Yeah, so the game takes place in a place called the Spiral, as you said. It's a cluster of disturbing places. So we have shown some of the environments in the trailer already, and like I encourage the fans and the community to just go have a look at every one of them. And yeah, we have several locations which each will have some narrative elements to them, and we'll develop our story of Little Atmosphere at the end.
So as we can see, obviously, we're not playing 6 this time. There's 2 new characters called Low and Alone. Can you tell us a little bit more about these 2 guys?
Yeah, so Low is the one with the blue cape. He has a bow and arrow as iconic item. Low has a wrench, and they both are able to use them to either unlock puzzles or to fight against little enemies. And what I really like about them is the relationship, and they really care for each other, and I think that's really interesting and really nice to see in the game.
Can you hint at least a little bit what this game is going to be about, exactly how those 2 meet, for example?
Not really. I will let the fans see later. Yeah.
Oh no! Too bad. But I want to know if there's anything in this game, as you have already seen it, what frightens you, like from maybe memories from your childhood, some kind of like things in the closet or under the bed. Did you see anything where you say, oh, this is going to be terrible?
Yeah, so one of the key elements of Little Nightmares is really to play on the childhood fears. So for my own personal story, I would say that I was really scared of the unknown, and especially at night, like sleeping in a new place will always trigger nightmares and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the thing with Little Nightmares. We are really trying to make sure that every person will find one part of their nightmares in that and play on those childhood fears, which are, I think, kind of universal.
Yeah, of course. Yes, I was afraid of dolls. Like today, I'm more than I was as a child, but creepy dolls sitting somewhere and doing nothing, just sitting there, just creep me out for some reason. So if there's any dolls involved in this, I'm gonna run.
Have you seen our monster baby, like the big inflatable monster baby?
I actually have. And I'm like, why? What is going on in this game? Yeah, it's very scary. It's very, very scary. But you mentioned there's a bow and an arrow involved. Yeah. So does this mean there's more to it than actually solving puzzles and helping each other out? Is there a little combat involved maybe?
Yes, so you have small enemies that you can see in the different chapters. In the Necropolis, for example, we have the beetles, and you will be able to shoot them with the bow and arrow, but you will also need the help of Alone in order to defeat them.
Okay, nice. It looks gorgeous, by the way. They all
Thank
do.
You.
And final thing, I would say, do we have a release date for this game yet?
So it's 2025. Cannot tell you more for now.
All right. And how can we play it at Gamescom? Where do we find you guys?
Yeah, so we have the demo, which is playable on our booth. So yeah, it's the Necropolis demo. Just go have a look.
Yeah, of course. Do it. Have a look. Thank you so much for stopping by. And have a great Gamescom.
Yeah, you too. It was super nice.
Das war es erstmal von hier aus dem Studio mit Little Nightmares 3. Unbedingt dranbleiben, damit ihr nichts verpasst. Bis gleich. Willkommen zurück im Gamescom Studio 2024, live aus Halle 7. Wir haben natürlich eine Menge Schmankerl für euch vorbereitet und es geht super spannend weiter mit einem Titel, den der ein oder andere vielleicht noch nicht auf dem Schirm haben dürfte. Er nennt sich Mouse, PI for Hire, und da haben wir jetzt auch ein paar Devs am Start. Willkommen, Jungs! Welcome to the stream!
Welcome. Hi, thank you for having us here.
Of course, you're welcome. So, you guys created this amazing looking game, Mouse. Tell me, what is the backstory about this? Like, how do you even think of such a game?
Well, it's kind of funny because many years ago, our art director, Michał, stumbled online upon some Bioshock fan art that was drawn in the rubber hose style. It was just one still picture. And it has stuck in his mind ever since. And a couple of years ago, while working on a completely different project, he reminded himself of this art. He dug it up on the internet, and he approached Mateusz and said, "Hey, why don't we make a game out of this? Like, let's do something like that." But back then, Fumi made animations, not games. But Mateusz liked the idea, so banded with just a couple of people. They started working on a prototype on the demo, and yeah, that's basically how Mouse was born.
So it's a crazy look. It's noir style, kind of 1930s cartoon look. That's pretty unique, actually. Maybe we have some gameplay to show this off. So is it just because this specific idea stuck in his head, or is it just generally a look that is not as common, maybe?
It developed over time. When we prepared first prototype in Godot engine, there were a bunch of mice walking around. You can shoot them. But from there we started to dig inside the project. We found, okay, mice are great. Okay, so we are using a rubber house animation. The rubber house animation is from 90s, 30s, 90s, 40s. So we thought, okay, this is a great era to put the whole storyline. And so we started to dig more, prepared some concept videos, some concept playthroughs, some concept demo. And the lead developer of Mouse, he put just a glimpse of the video on his TikTok, and it blew up. You know, we got 2 million views in 2-3 days. And back then we didn't even have a Steam page or anything else.
Okay.
Even a trailer. And I remember quite well that I received an email from IGN that maybe we have something more that this short video on TikTok. And I thought, okay, so I need to quickly edit something, you know, to prepare some game.
Last minute.
Yeah, the last minute, and I didn't know anything about, you know, what IGN is and what they do. And so I sent the trailer, and after a few days it got millions of views, you know, on the internet, and we got.
And now you're like, shit, we're gonna do this now.
Yeah, and and we got a lot of questions, and from the press, from the gamers, from the publishers, from the investors.
Yeah.
It was, for us, it was roller coaster back then.
I mean, it's appropriate because it looks very, very gorgeous. But also, is it kind of misleading because this game is called PI for Hire?
Yeah.
Which kind of suggests, okay, we're playing a detective. This looks like a first-person shooter, straight up. What's the twist there?
Yeah, so what you have seen so far, yes, this is one way of solving problems and, you know, solving cases. But I assure you that we have, you know, different elements to the gameplay that will put you in proper shoes of a private investigator. So you will be looking for some clues. You will be, you know, connecting the dots, literally, sometimes, in order to solve the case. So it's not going to be just mindless shooting. Yes, we are focused on making shooting fun, because that's also, you know, cartoonish way of solving problems sometimes with, you know, a huge hammer and an anvil. But still, there are some elements that will make you feel like a true PI.
And what would you say is your favorite thing about the game? Do you have a favorite thing? Is it easy to name one?
The whole animation in the game is my favorite, because, you know, my background is from animation, and I love every aspect of animation from this game because we put a lot of effort, a lot of time to
Yeah, you
prepare
can see that.
all the animations, all the death animation, of all the reload animation, all the movements. We want to give the audience the best experience in the case of animation. Maciek, for sure, he has his own favorite things.
On top of what Mateusz said, because I love animation as well, but I'd say how tight the gameplay feels already, and the pacing. So the pacing and the controls, this is what I enjoy the most, on top of the art style.
Pretty nice. I'm actually looking forward to playing this. Where can I play this at Gamescom right now?
You can't.
Oh no, I cannot.
We only have hands-off demo for the press.
I see.
Still, we are in the early development process.
So it's not coming out this year at all, right?
This year for sure.
Next year.
Next year.
All right, I'm patiently gonna wait for it. But thank you anyway for stopping by and telling us about this beautiful game. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Ja, das war's hier erstmal wieder aus dem Gamescom Studio. Wunderschönes Spiel, wie ich finde. Wenn ihr weitere wunderschöne Spiele sehen wollt, dann bleibt doch bitte dran. Bis gleich.
Welcome back, everybody, here at Gamescom 2024, and we're here to talk about Titan Quest 2, a game very close to my heart. I'm here with Balin. How are you doing?
Hey, great to be here. First time for Titan Quest 2 and for me.
Wow. I mean, how are you enjoying Gamescom? If it's your first time, you like everything's
not
overwhelming.
That. This interview. Gamescom, I've been here before with Halo Wars 2 in the past.
Right.
But having a great time. Thank you.
Nice. Very nice. So, Titan Quest 2, I mean, we're talking about a sequel. What was the hardest challenge for you when it comes to a sequel like Titan Quest 2?
It's really living up to Game 1, right? It had so much content to it. It was so authentic with the mythology. Its world was so vibrant. We had to cover all of those from the get-go. And I do believe that we are doing that. But as we've announced yesterday, we're going into an early access at the end of this year. So, the pressure's on, but I think we are going to make it just fine. I think we're definitely covering the authentic Greek mythology with the beautiful Aegean and overall landscape of Greece. We've got the Titan Quest authentic monsters as well. We've got the masteries as your class. You choose 2 of them to form your own. So we've got the customization front covered as well there. And we're going further with the attribute system. There's a lot of cool stuff coming.
Yeah. I mean, there's pros and cons when you make a sequel. The pros, you already have an audience. But
Yes.
at the same time, that's also a con because they have a certain level of expectations. How do you bridge with your colleagues? How do you bridge that gap between, okay, this is the range of expectations that we kind of have to fulfill, but there's also new things we want to try. We want to introduce new things. How do you do that?
So what we ended up doing is actually not a full proper sequel. It is not a continuation of the story of Game 1. We are essentially just giving you a brand new story, an original one, and we're going to go with that in our own style, which does bring the player something new, in my opinion.
And in terms, you already mentioned Greek mythology. I mean, that's a given. But I'm a big fan, or I was a big fan. I'm still a big fan of the loot system. And a lot of people wonder, how have you changed it / advanced it?
That's a great question. So I mentioned the attribute system before, and that actually ties super heavily into how we are handling our loot overall. So you've got 6 directions essentially to choose within your attributes, but only 3 that you can spec into, plus your health, so technically 4. These will guide whether you can wear heavy armor, light armor, or mage armor specifically. And these give you a whole new identity in terms of how you build your character. And our loot system is generally deeper as well than Titan Quest 1 because we're doing these generated affixes still that Titan Quest 1 also did, but we're a little bit more concrete with them, so you can farm a little bit more reliably.
We're seeing some footage right now. So I got to ask that question in terms of regarding to technology. How has technology helped you to fulfill your vision? I mean, between 1 and 2, some time has passed. Technology is different. The engine is better and bigger. But how has the advancements in technology helped you to fulfill your creative vision?
Well, we're actually using Unreal Engine 5. Game 1 had its own custom engine. Making a custom engine would be a nightmare. So we have a really strong start with Unreal, even though we had to plug in some custom stuff for sure. But what it allows us to do is do stuff like real-time lighting, and we're really leaning into that. We've got this day and night system coming back.
I mean, it looks amazing. I have to say, like, it looks amazing. What we're seeing right now is great footage. But in how far will, since you said early access, end of the year, will you keep working on this? Or
Absolutely.
Is it for you like the final?
We're not completely done at all. Not even with the early access build itself, so that's going to go until the 11th hour, really. But as far as how long the early access itself will last, it's really hard to say, honestly, Seb. Because we need to take player feedback into account. We really care about what the players think, and we want to bring them in. And even with our Gamescom demo now, there's a QR code at the very end, or in the pause menu, whatever you're finding it in. But you can do that, do a survey, and then you have a chance to actually get into a private beta that we're having under NDA. So we're really going to listen to those players, work with them. That's why we're doing early access, you know, so that we can incorporate that player feedback from the early days, rather than make a full product by ourselves and potentially get it wrong, and then it's too late.
And then
to
get
fix
the
it.
backlash, and it's all over social, and people are complaining.
You're exactly right. So let's take it slowly. Let's work with the community. Let's make sure that the game is great together.
So this was all about technology, of course, but in how far, when you look at the music, when you look at the graphics that we just discussed, how did you make sure that it's not just about advancements? You just mentioned the community, but was there an initial meeting with the team that said, no, we want to stay closer to the original? Was there ever a discussion to just make a number 2 for a sequel's sake?
You know, I actually joined the team a little bit late, so maybe. But I can tell you that we're all very confident about the direction we're taking. And I think it's the right thing to do with where we are now. But about the audio, I wish our audio director was here. He's also our composer, Bastian. Did great work on Spellforce.
Great name.
And
Sebastian, best name.
For sure. But here, you know what he did? He actually learned authentic Greek instruments just for this. And
that's the spirit, right?
Yeah. We actually released the making of the soundtrack for the trailer, specifically the reveal trailer that we did last year. Authentic Greek instruments. The guy just learned them, and then he started composing with them. And we got a Greek singer as well.
I mean, that's just amazing. It also shows that there's a certain spirit throughout the whole team to get this right. But what was the hardest challenge when it came to the game? Or what is still the hardest challenge?
Definitely getting the gameplay right. So making an ARPG is just so complicated. I worked on RTS games all my career. Similarly hard. You just have to make so many creatures, abilities in these kinds of games, both of them. ARPGs are just super rich on mechanics, especially. So as to get your player character to be highly customizable, so that you have all these special quirks and abilities that you can then apply and exploit. It takes so much time to just get the gameplay code, man. And then our work begins with gameplay design and actually implementation of the skills. Then we send it off to art, then they make VFX for it, they make animations for it, they make audio for it. Then the QA has to do it, then full round goes again.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder
intense,
if people actually know how much time and how much effort it takes to make these games. And every time I hear devs explaining how many steps are necessary to actually get a final product, it's amazing. What is the one thing you cannot wait for the community to experience or to see? As the final question for today.
The 1.0. So maybe I should say the early access, but I personally really care about the 1.0. We need the early access to be good, of course. We need to push throughout all the way to the end. But I personally really care about the 1.0.
Amazing. I cannot wait for that game to come out. Early access or not, I will be there. I will try. Balin, thank you very much for being here today. I would say we just head over and we have a look at the game. thank you very much, guys. You stay tuned. There is way more coming, and enjoy Gamescom.
Okay, let's get started. I, Vegeta, am number one. Something beyond my strength's limit. You're mine. Over here. Whoa, now what a moron. Take that. You ready? Eat on. Get started on turning you into a Super Saiyan. You'll finish!
Sorry to keep you waiting.
I'll start then.
Prepare yourself! Eat you!
No more going easy. Let's push it to the absolute limits of our power. Share your energy with me!
Und da sind wir wieder im Gamescom-Studio von IGN. Leonie hier und ich bin heute sehr aufgeregt. Es geht nämlich um Dragon Ball Sparking Zero und ich habe einen ganz besonderen Gast im Studio, nämlich Jun Furutari. Hallo.
Hallo.
Ja, erstmal, das Spiel ist auf jeden Fall hier schon ein bisschen spielbar. Es gibt einen riesen Booth mit einem gigantischen Son Goku drauf und ich habe ein paar Fragen mitgebracht von einigen Dragon Ball Fans. Die erste wäre, wie passt denn Dragon Ball Sparking Zero in die Dragon Ball Lore? Also wo findet das Spiel statt? In welcher Zeit des Mangas oder Animes?
Also es gibt einen Episode Battle Mode, wo man anhand von einzelnen Charakteren einzelne Teile der Story nachspielen kann. Und die längste Story Arc ist von Son Goku und sie fängt an, wo Raditz kommt und geht bis zum Tournament of Power.
Oh, also doch ein sehr, sehr großer Abschnitt auch.
Nagai Arc desu ne. Also ja, es ist ganz schön umfangreich, es sind sehr viele Battle Modes, Battle Stages, die da mit drin sind. Wie gesagt, bei Goku ist halt der Story Arc am längsten, damit die Leute auch sehr viel von der Story Spaß haben können.
Ich meine, es ist auch Goku, ne? Also
Goku ist gerade nett.
Es werden aber auch andere Charaktere spielbar sein. Sind einige Fan-Favorites dabei?
そうですね、今回エピソードバトル、実は、昨日公開させていただいた映像にも少し出ているんですけれども
Zusätzlich zu Goku und Vegeta sind natürlich auch Gohan und Piccolo spielbar.
Sehr cool. Und gestern habt ihr auch gesagt, dass wenn wir das Spiel vorbestellen, gibt es auch ein paar Charaktere noch extra freischaltbar, die man sonst erstmal freispielen müsste. Die kriegt man dann schon gleich am Anfang, was natürlich die Spielerfahrung für viele, die einfach ihren Lieblingscharakter spielen wollen, natürlich sehr hilfreich ist. Könnt ihr davon ein bisschen noch was erzählen?
Als Pre-Order-Bonus gibt es dann quasi Gogeta und Gordy noch, also die verwandelten Versionen sind dann spielbar, plus noch einen weiteren Charakter, aber dazu können wir aktuell leider noch nichts sagen.
Also ein geheimer Zusatzcharakter, Leute. Na, da bin ich schon mal gespannt. Spekulationen bitte in die Kommentare. Im Prozess der Spieleentwicklung wurde viel nach Fan-Feedback auch gefragt. Also zumindest ist das was in den Foren viel aufgefallen ist, was die Fans sehr gut fanden, dass ihre Meinung mit einbezogen wird. Und auch ich finde das schön zu sehen, dass auch die Meinung von Fans kreativ beachtet wird. Könnten Sie vielleicht ein bisschen von dem Ablauf dazu erzählen, wessen Idee das war, wie es dazu kam und ob die Stimmen auch gehört wurden?
そうですね、どこまで
Natürlich ist uns bewusst, dass das eine IP ist, wo wir sehr viele Fans haben, wo sehr viele Leute natürlich auch darauf warten, wo sehr viele Leute auch eine eigene Meinung dazu haben, wie sie am liebsten in diesem Spiel ihre Charaktere spielen möchten. Und dadurch, dass es uns sehr wichtig ist, auch so ein Spielerlebnis zu ermöglichen, war es natürlich auch wichtig zu hören, was für Stimmen die Fans uns geben und was für Erwartungen da draußen auf dem Markt sind. Und natürlich möchte man das Spiel für möglichst viele Fans zugänglich machen und man möchte möglichst viele Fans zufriedenstellen, weshalb man natürlich auch die Informationen angenommen hat und daraus sind zum Beispiel Sachen entstanden wie der lokale Splitscreen-Modus, wenn auch nur der vielleicht nur eingeschränkt möglich ist, aber immerhin haben wir jetzt Local Co-op Splitscreen möglich gemacht, weil halt auch sowas gefordert wurde und gefragt.
Ah, cool. Also sozusagen wirklich ein komplettes Feature ist extra erstellt worden, weil die Fans eben gesagt haben, wir möchten gerne im Splitscreen auch spielen können. Und das ist doch immer schön zu hören, wenn ja, ihr als eure Rückmeldungen einfach da gut ankommen bei den Devs. Das freut mich persönlich sehr. Auf der Gamescom habt ihr einen sehr schönen, sehr großen Stand. Ein riesiger Goku ist da. Da interessiert mich natürlich, wie ist der hier reingepasst? Was können die Fans an eurem Booth spezifisch? Was erwartet sie dort?
そうですね、コンピューターとの対戦を遊んでいただくことができます。
Also am Stand können die Fans gegen die AI spielen.
思っているんですけれども、一応本作シリーズ最大規模のプレイアブルキャラクターを用意していまして、で今回集大の方ではですね、77キャラクター。
Und es ist möglich, aus 77 Charakteren zu wählen und diese anzuspielen. Und entsprechend sind das also noch mehr Charaktere als an vorigen Events spielbar waren.
77, ja, das...
そうですね。
Nicht schlecht. Das ist eine Menge Content. Und als letzte Frage noch, was bedeutet die Gamescom für Sie in dieser Zeit des modernen Gamings?
そうですね、ドラゴンボールゲームをすごい楽しんでくださっている方々、
Also dadurch, dass Dragon Ball natürlich weltweit eine sehr, sehr große Fanbase hat, ist natürlich auch immer wichtig, dass man auf solchen Events wie die Gamescom teilnimmt und da den Fans die Möglichkeit gibt, auch mal das Spiel anzuspielen. Und deshalb hat man sich auch Mühe gegeben, nochmal die Charakterzahl zum Beispiel zu erhöhen und ein möglichst breites Erlebnis hier zu ermöglichen. Und dafür ist die Gamescom natürlich sehr, sehr wichtig.
いただくような形で提供させていただいているぐらい、我々としてはすごい大事に思っているイベントです。
Okay, also da bin ich mir sicher, das wird den Fans auf jeden Fall gefallen. Guckt es euch auf jeden Fall an, hier auch in Halle 7 vertreten. Und das war's von uns erstmal aus dem Gamescom-Studio. Vielen, vielen Dank für das Interview, es war eine große Ehre.
Vielen Dank.
Und für euch geht's jetzt hier gleich weiter. Bleibt also dran beim Gamescom-Studio 2024.
So, liebe Freunde, ich habe hier sozusagen ein Einhorn aufgetrieben auf dieser Gamescom. Denn es gibt wirklich noch ein Game Boy Advance Spiel, was dieses Jahr erschienen ist. Und es hat satte 22 Jahre Verspätung. Wie kann das passieren? Das frage ich mich und deswegen habe ich den Mann eingeladen, der für das ganze Ding verantwortlich ist. Das ist nämlich Fabio. Hi Fabio, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, tell me about this game. It's called Keen, right?
Yes.
What happened? Why is a GBA game coming out now?
Well, it's a long story, but we will try to be it's short. It's the most delayed game ever.
Yes,
so this is our it's our record. It was born in 2000, 2001, when I was very young, and now I am old. And honestly, it's very strange for me to have this Game Boy Advance. I will try to play this, but I am old, I forgot how to play.
Sure.
But apart from the jokes, this is a little miracle. We are very proud after 22 years to have released this game, because we don't give up about this project. We were very young. We started with 5 persons, very young in southern Italy. It's a very difficult place to start a startup when indies were just an idea, and we started with we had lira, not euros, but we started with about 500 euros and a lot of dreams. And this was our first game. We started to do some B2B, internet websites to do more cash, and then we started our first game, Kien. And Kien is a little action platform game with RPG elements. It's connected to my passion, my personal passion as a young nerd, to the old games, classic games platform, with the addition of RPG elements, because I was, when I was very young, dungeon master. My story as a CEO and founder of the company is a little strange, because I was graduated in history. Yes, in history, medieval history, with an economic military specialization, so very serious. And in fact, in Kien there are some things. It's a cartoonish as a graphics, but in the content there are a lot of cultural meanings. and that I try to transfer it in it. Qin, the name of Qin, is from the Qing. Qing, so you know the divination from the Asian culture, and is connected to, we can say, the classical yin and yang, so the equilibrium between the light and darkness. And there are a lot of references in this game. It's a very simple game, simple in the mechanics, but very hard to play. So can be defined as like a pre-Souls-like game. So you have very to want to win each level to go on. And inside you can discover these meanings that are a little bit secret, but they are very deep. And when we started the game, there was a big opportunity with this new console, but there was a problem that Qin was a new IP, and in that period was very difficult for a new IP to be sold, to be not only sold, but the chance to have a success for a publisher. So they found 3 times very interesting the game, but when they did more research, they decided to stop the process of publication because it could be too risky for them. So only big IPs like, you know, Avengers and etc. could affirm. And to print the cartridge in that era was very, very expensive. Yes. Now, with the retro gaming that is growing and growing, and the fact that the cartridges are very, very less expensive to print, new publisher like Incubate, that is our publisher from Canada, give us the opportunity to publish it. And so, after 22 years, here we are with this game in our hands. We did a lot of other games now in these days. The content and what I studied, my passions, are always there in the games, because I believe that in games there are a lot of meanings that are not only entertainment, but can be meanings for our life, to be better in our life. This is something that we always try to put in our games.
It's a completely fascinating story, I gotta say. This is a dream finally came true, right? You can already buy this game, so how is the feedback from the community out there?
Right now, the community is very, very fantastic and positive, and the publisher sold out the game in the first day, and we are at the 3rd printing. Not obviously millions of copies, but we are very happy about the results. And I think there is a very interesting thing about the retro gaming in general. The retro gaming, the pixel art, the not high definition games, because it's a classical point in the game design manual. Also, I teach game design at university. The point is that a game is an experience in our mind. That's the point. So it's an activation, all the great graphics, great mechanics, but also in novels. I am also a sci-fi writer. Also in the manual of novel, this is something that is very near between games and novels. A good novelist writes half of the book. The other half is written by the reader. And I think that paradoxically, in a game like Qin and other simplified games in graphics, you have more power for your imagination to build in that game. So the mechanics, the interactions are fantastic, but it's your mind always. So it's the activation in your mind. I think that Qin could give this us this power to activate the imagination in the players.
All right, thank you so much for your time. This is truly an amazing project. Yeah.
I know. I don't know if I still.
Wenn ihr dieses Spiel ausprobieren wollt, dann könnt ihr das gerne hier tun in Halle 10.1 an diesem wundervollen Stand. Gebt es mal einen Versuch, ganz ehrlich, es ist total charmant und die beste Story der letzten Gaming-Jahre, würde ich sagen. Zurück ins Studio.
Willkommen zurück auf der Gamescom 2024 hier aus dem Gamescom Studio mit IGN Und ich habe ganz besondere Gäste und ich bin super happy, dass wir einfach nur Deutsch sprechen können mit Kai Rosenkranz und Reinhard Pollice. Und wir sprechen natürlich über Gothic.
Sprechen wir über Gothic.
Ja.
Servus.
Wie geht's euch?
Gut. Ja.
Habt ihr die Gamescom bisher so einigermaßen überstanden?
Ja, also wir haben jetzt natürlich hier am Stand mal geguckt, dass alles läuft. Wir haben ja schon eine riesige Schlange für Gothic. Geht ja erst um 10 Uhr los. Ne?
Ja, aber die Leute
wollen Gothic spielen.
Heiß, ja.
Wir haben heute noch Sachen gefixt, aber jetzt läuft alles.
Last minute sozusagen.
Ja, ich bin der Perfektionist. Ich möchte, dass das Ding läuft und gestern habe ich ein paar Sachen gesehen, die noch nicht ganz einwandfrei liefen. Und dann haben wir uns in der Nacht hingesetzt, haben Fixes gemacht.
Du willst mir also erklären, dass ihr sozusagen auf die Gamescom fahrt und nicht abends auf die Partys geht?
Ich war auch auf der Party, nachdem die Fixes
Aber jeden Tag läuft eine andere Version am Stand.
Okay.
Die ist immer unique.
Ja,
und es sind Secrets drin, vielleicht.
Ja. Da haben wir schon die erste Info. Geht jeden Tag zu Gothic, spielt das Spiel mehrmals, weil vielleicht verändert es sich noch über Nacht. Jetzt hatte ich gestern die Gelegenheit natürlich, Kai, sozusagen mal so ein bisschen reinzuschauen. Du bist schon ewig dabei. Wir sagen jetzt nicht genau wie lange, weil man soll ja nicht über das Alter sprechen und so.
Kannst du ruhig sagen.
Aber du wirst ja in der Community, man sagt immer so Audio Director, das klingt so, ne? Aber du bist der Komponist. Für mich bist du der Komponist des Soundtracks, Scores, wie auch immer. Und du wirst ja in der Community so ein bisschen als, was habe ich gestern gelesen, das ist unser Mozart von Gothic.
Oje. Das hört sich sehr hochtrabend an.
Ja, aber wie fühlt sich das für dich an, dass du in der Community auf der einen Seite jetzt natürlich diese Erwartungshaltung erfüllen musst, dass du nicht einfach das wiederholst, was du schon vor anno dazu mal irgendwie abgeliefert hast, und auf der anderen Seite willst du ja auch irgendwo Freiheit haben. Wie gehst du damit um?
Das sind tatsächlich gemischte Gefühle. Auf der einen Seite fühle ich diesen Druck. Auf der anderen Seite hat es bisher bei den Gothic-Spielen aber auch so geklappt, dass ich einfach das, was in mir steckt, irgendwie in die Musik habe fließen lassen. Und das war dann für das Endprodukt ausreichend. Und es hat die Spieler irgendwie bewegt und mitgenommen.
Ausreichend, das war bei mir immer eine 4.
War nicht völlig schlecht, genau. Und das heißt, es hat sich dann so im Laufe der Zeit so das Gefühl und auch so ein bisschen die Sicherheit entwickelt, dass wenn ich mich einfach musikalisch ausdrücke, wenn ich verstehe, was die Emotionalität einer Szene sein soll, dass ich das dann auch in Musik übersetzen kann. Und deswegen bin ich, was das angeht, etwas entspannter geworden. Das war in der ersten Hälfte meiner Karriere noch anders. Und dass es diesen engen Kontakt und auch diese enge Verbindung zu den Fans gibt, das bedeutet mir tatsächlich sehr viel. Also wir haben gegenseitig voreinander sehr viel Respekt.
Also Kai geht ja auch in das Discord rein und beantwortet dann immer gerne Fragen. Ja. Manchmal auch mehr als mir lieb ist.
Ich wollte gerade fragen, wie du als Game Director im Hintergrund sozusagen, ist es bei dir eher so das Zuckerbrot oder die Peitsche und sagst du, okay, es gibt nur die und die Sachen?
Ich glaube, das müssen andere sagen. Ich meine, ich versuche schon natürlich klare Sachen vorzugeben und einen Korridor, aber innerhalb des Korridors soll halt jeder auch so seinen Gestaltungsfreiraum haben. Das ist sehr wichtig halt auch für die persönliche Entwicklung einer jeden und auch für die Motivation an dem Ganzen. Also jeder soll auch so dieses Gefühl haben, den Teil, den er übernimmt, dass er den ownen kann und sich darin entfalten kann.
Wir sehen ja jetzt hier gerade, Reinhard, so ein bisschen Footage.
Genau.
Und jetzt meine Frage an dich, und das hast du bestimmt schon 1000-mal gehört, aber wie schafft man das, dass man sieht so doch ein älteres Spiel, was visuell natürlich schon in die Jahre gekommen ist, und jetzt will man das übersetzen ins Hier und Jetzt. Und damit gehen aber auch Änderungen im Gameplay einher, weil wir natürlich im Jahr 2024 Spiele auch ganz anders wahrnehmen, anders spielen, auch technologisch bedingt natürlich. Wie überquert man da diese Brücke, dass man auf der einen Seite die Fans nicht verliert, die das Original lieben, und auf der anderen Seite aber auch irgendwo diesen Charakter von einem neuen Spiel erfüllt?
Also das ist wirklich schwierig, auch weil es gibt auch verschiedene Meinungen innerhalb der Community. Zum Beispiel visuell. Es gibt auch noch Fans, die lieben den polygonarmen Look des Originals. Ja. Also die hätten am liebsten eigentlich, dass das Spiel so aussieht wie damals. Also 1:1 mit ein bisschen besseren Texturen vielleicht, ein bisschen weniger kantige Modelle, und das ist es. Das haben wir relativ früh gesagt, wir wollen ein Spiel sein, das modern aussieht und das als Artstyle klar den Realismus definiert. Das Originalspiel hat sich im Artstyle natürlich auch die Freiheit genommen, in gewisser Weise eine Stilisierung reinzubringen. Durch die Polygonlimitationen aus der damaligen Zeit musstest du einfach gewisse Konturen entsprechend betonen, damit du eine Silhouette in den Kopf der Spieler bekommst. Ja? Und wir können halt eben jetzt sagen, für uns gibt es diese Limitation jetzt einfach nicht. Ja? Und wir haben definiert einen Artstyle, der klar auf Realismus geht. Ja? Bei den Spielmechaniken ist es so, wir haben ganz klar gesagt, wir wollen im Spirit des Originals sein. Wir wollen die Seele erhalten. Ja? Also da geht es eher darum, die Spielmechaniken wieder umzusetzen mit halt moderner Zugänglichkeit. So, das ist die Hauptänderung, ja, dass man es gut steuern kann. Da war ja auch ein Thema im ganz originalen Gothic quasi. Und dass wir es dann entsprechend erweitern. Das ist so unser Touch dann an dem Ganzen. Also wir haben ganz viele Spielmechaniken, die wir einfach genommen haben und gesagt haben, da können wir noch eine Schippe draufschlagen und das wird, glaube ich, auch sehr cool sein für die Spieler, das zu entdecken. Zum Beispiel ein ganz simples Beispiel, was jeder innerhalb von 5 Minuten in der Gamescom-Demo sehen kann. Du startest ja in diesem Austauschplatz und du hast hier diesen kleinen See. Du kannst dort gleich tauchen gehen. Tauchen ist jetzt auch ein Skill, den kannst du auch upgraden, das haben wir nicht in der Demo, aber du kannst beim Tauchen schon Items quasi aufsammeln und du kannst auch in unserem Remake looten, also du kannst auch eine Kiste aufmachen und so bieten wir halt nochmal eine zusätzliche Dimension beim Exploren an. Das ist nämlich auch eines bei einem RPG immer Explore and Reward. Ja?
Wir haben jetzt gerade ja in dem Footage gesehen, wie das Spiel wirkt im Footage. Das ist immer das eine, wenn man es dann spielt, wirkt es teilweise nochmal ganz anders. Wie hast du dich abgehärtet, wenn Leute das vergleichen mit, naja, das sieht ja aus wie zum Beispiel Elder Scrolls Skyrim, was glaube ich, sage ich mal, das ist so die Spitze ganz oben und dann stellt man sich ja diesen Vergleich. Wie gehst du mit diesem Vergleich um?
Also das Schwierigste an dem Ganzen ist, du zeigst ja quasi das Spiel, während man dran arbeitet. Das heißt, es ist eigentlich nie fertig. Ja? Und das ist so das Schwierigste. Wir wurden auch sehr stark dafür kritisiert, dass wir eigentlich lange nicht viel davon gezeigt haben oder nur immer Ausschnitte oder nur Kreaturen. Das Ding ist halt, wir waren selber noch nicht zufrieden. Wir haben gesagt, wir arbeiten ja noch dran, das ist noch nicht good enough. Mittlerweile ist es good enough to be shown, aber es ist immer noch nicht das finale Produkt. Und mit der Abhärtung, natürlich, man muss da, also ich lese ja auch sehr viel in den Foren, in den Discords, mache ich dann meistens halt so irgendwann um 1 und 2 Uhr in der Früh.
Wenn die meisten schlafen, damit du nicht instant nochmal
reagieren musst. Genau, und da ich instant noch mehr Reactions halt reinbekomme und dass ich auch halt so, weißt du, den Freiraum habe, das auch aufzunehmen. Und ich lese halt gerne jede Meinung und versuche halt dann dahinter zu kommen, was ist der Kern des Ganzen. Es gibt sehr viele Meinungen, die stehen halt einmal so für sich und man fängt damit erstmal nichts an. Wenn man sich aber überlegt, wie tickt der Spieler vielleicht oder was für eine Liebe hat er für ein anderes Spiel, aus welchem Grund, dann kann man da vielleicht schon ein bisschen mehr nachvollziehen und kann dann auch Schlüsse für sich selber ziehen.
Das ist wirklich so ein Thema, wenn man was komplett neu aufbaut, da könnten wir Stunden drüber reden, aber wir sind tatsächlich leider schon am Ende. Deswegen die letzte Frage, das stelle ich gerne meinen Gästen, die sozusagen ein Spiel mitbringen, an dem sie so mit Herzblut gearbeitet haben. Also die Frage gilt sozusagen für euch beide. Was war für euch so das größte Achievement, wenn das Spiel fertig ist, was die Fans unbedingt sehen müssen?
Also ich finde tatsächlich, die Wirkung der Welt ist eine ganz fantastische Ebene des neuen Remakes. Man fühlt sich auf der einen Seite sofort zu Hause, also das hat uns auch jeder Spieler zurückgespiegelt. Das sieht wie Gothic aus, es fühlt sich wie Gothic an. Es ist aber so viel detaillierter und so viel stimmiger und glaubwürdiger, dass ich sagen würde, die Welt spricht für sich und das auf eine ganz bezaubernde Weise.
Also ich bin einerseits sehr stolz auf, wie ich erwähnt habe, die Mechaniken, die wir überall erweitert haben. Wir haben da wirklich sehr, sehr coole Sachen, die man entdecken kann. Wir haben auch in dem Trailer, sieht man auch kurz Free Climbing. Das ist auch ein neuer Skill. Und das andere, auf das ich sehr stolz bin und wo wir auch sehr viel Zeit reingesteckt haben, ist, dass wirklich jeder Charakter im Spiel sieht unique aus. Du hast halt so deine Hauptcharaktere, die sind natürlich auch so im Spirit der Originals und ich finde, das haben wir echt, also Diego zum Beispiel sieht instant aus wie Diego. Ja? Aber auch der Digger Nummer 32 sieht unique aus und das ist mir echt wichtig, weil ich hasse nichts mehr, als wenn im Spiel du gehst halt dann durch und du merkst halt auch so, das ist eigentlich keine lebendige Welt, das ist eine Show für dich. Ja? Und da muss man natürlich Abstriche machen und das fängt halt dann dabei an, du sagst halt, ja komm, das Gesicht, das nimmst du jetzt hier, das klatscht jetzt hier auf hier 50er und die sind halt an verschiedenen Plätzen und das merkt man nicht. Ja? Und das ist echt wichtig für die Immersion. Es geht nämlich nichts, also das Allerwichtigste ist, dass die Leute sich in die Welt hineinversetzen und immersen sollen. Ja. Und das zieht sich durch alles durch. Also auch zum Beispiel über unsere UI, das ist kein Fullscreen-UI, du hast das UI, wenn du es aufmachst, das Inventar zum Beispiel, siehst du auch immer deinen Helden, du kannst weiterkämpfen, das ist auch eine ganz unique Sache.
Leute, ihr merkt schon, wir können hier stundenlang weiter über Gothic sprechen. Ich würde sagen, wir gehen einfach mal rüber, oder? Wir gehen einfach rüber und beschäftigen uns noch 2-3 Stunden nur damit.
Wenn wir durchkommen bei der Schlange.
Und wenn wir durchkommen, also wenn ich mit euch gehe, hoffe ich, dass wir ein bisschen schneller durchkommen. Ihr bleibt auf jeden Fall dran, wir haben noch viele andere Themen für euch vorbereitet. Danke, dass ihr da wart.
Vielen Dank.
Und viel Erfolg noch.
Gerne.
Dankeschön.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Auf der Opening Night Live, da haben wir schon einen schönen Vorgeschmack bekommen auf ein neues Spiel, Reanimus. Sah ganz fantastisch aus. Und ich bin jetzt hier mit 2 Jungs vom Team. Könnt ihr euch einmal kurz vorstellen und uns erzählen, was eure Aufgabe in der Gameproduktion war?
Ja, ich bin Joschka, ich bin der technische Direktor am Team, entwickle also das Spiel, worum es geht.
Ich bin der Stefan Mohr, ich bin der Producer bei THQ Nordic für das Spiel.
Sehr cool. Okay, also ich muss euch schon mal eine Sache sagen. Allein dieses Artwork, was wir da hinter uns sehen, ist eins der creepiesten Sachen, die ich jemals gesehen habe, und ich bin obsessed damit. Ich finde es fantastisch, ist total mein Vibe, ich stehe mega drauf. Also ich vermute mal, das lässt so ein bisschen drauf schlussfolgern, dass vielleicht eine creepiere Version von Tieren eventuell was zu tun haben in dem Spiel, oder?
Könnte durchaus sein. Wenn man im Trailer ein bisschen hinguckt, sieht man ja vielleicht auch ein paar Hinweise darauf. Also die Tiere sind irgendwie was so natürlich im Studio immer wieder aufgekommen ist. Die Concept Artists haben diese Entwürfe gemacht und irgendwie hat es Resonanzen im ganzen Team gemacht. Und ja, irgendwie fühlte das sich alles passend an, gab uns einen roten Faden und ja, creepy Animals, definitiv ein Teil.
Was kannst du uns noch übers Spiel verraten? Also es ist ja auf jeden Fall, lehnt sich ans Horrorgenre?
Ja, definitiv. Horror ist ein großer Aspekt. Wir nennen es ein Horror-Adventure. Also der Horror ist eben der eine Pillar und der zweite Pillar ist Adventure, und da spielen einige Elemente mit rein. Man hat im Trailer vielleicht das Boot gesehen, was ein Element ist, was man immer wieder durchs Spiel hinweg, ja, was einen begleitet sozusagen. Damit erforscht man so ein bisschen die Welt. Ja, und was wir eben versuchen immer zu machen, ist, wir haben auf der einen Seite eben Horror, creepy Vibes, und auf der anderen Seite haben wir Kinder als Protagonisten. Und das gibt uns eben eine schöne Spannung zwischen dem Horror und den more playful Elements.
Na klar, besonders wenn man eben auch kleinere Charaktere oder kindlichere Charaktere spielt, dann hat man auch eine ganz andere Verletzlichkeit ja auch noch in der Welt. Und das macht dann lässt dann vielleicht das Herz ein bisschen doller, lässt einen dann vielleicht ein bisschen doller schwitzen, wenn man da vor den Monstern wegrennt. Was waren so die Inspirationen für euch?
Das ist immer schwer zu sagen, weil wir sind natürlich einige Leute im Team. Also unser Narrative Director ist zum Beispiel ganz großer Fan von 80er Jahre Horrorfilme, Direct-to-VHS-Releases, was man vielleicht am Artwork auch ein bisschen wiedererkennt.
Ja, so dieser Grain, so ein bisschen grainy, ein bisschen nebelig.
Genau, und unsere Concept Artists, kommt von überall. Viele Animes, viele Mangas. Und es ist jetzt nicht so, dass wir sagen, okay, das Ding, das müssen wir jetzt irgendwie imitieren oder nachmachen. Aber es sind eben bestimmte Elemente, die wir uns dann zusammensuchen von verschiedenen Filmen, Animes, andere Spiele. Also es ist sehr schwer zu sagen, das ist genau das, worauf wir hinaus wollen.
Ja, es ist ja meistens eine große Zusammenstellung eher von Dingen. Also ich bin auf jeden Fall schon richtig gespannt. Ich habe sehr viel Spaß mit dieser Art von Spielen. Aber ich bin auch ich bin ein kleiner Schisser, sagen wir es mal so. Aber nur oder kannst du vielleicht, ist es eher so schleichender, ambienter Horror, oder gibt es auch schon so ein bisschen so Jumpscare-Moments?
Ja, also wir nennen das Atmospheric Horror im Studio immer. Also es gibt sicherlich auch den einen oder anderen Jumpscare, aber wovon wir eben immer versuchen wegzubleiben, ist jetzt so Guts and Gore und irgendwie halt wirklich blutige Szenen. Das ist nicht so unser Style. Wir versuchen es halt mehr so langsam die Stimmung aufzubauen, dass man eben das Gefühl hat, dass die Welt um einen rum es irgendwie auf einen abgesehen hat, statt eben immer nur voll drauf. Wie gesagt, die Kinder geben uns halt auch ein schönes Element an Kontrast, wo wir den Spielern halt dann auch mal was Lustiges geben können, wo sie ein bisschen aufatmen können, ein bisschen sich erholen können von den spannenden Momenten.
Wird es im Spiel so Dialoge geben, oder ist es nur atmosphärisch, musikalisch und soundtechnisch unterlegt?
Ja, das ist tatsächlich was neu für uns ist, dass die Protagonisten ein wenig sprechen werden. Natürlich ist es, wer unsere Spiele kennt, weiß, dass wir immer versuchen, minimalistisch zu sein, wenn es um Story geht. Also den Leuten was an die Hand zu geben, wo sie ein bisschen interpretieren können, statt zu sagen, hier ist, was genau passiert ist. Also es werden minimale Dialoge passieren und ja, wie gesagt, ganz neu für uns. Interessantes Element.
Ah, sehr cool, da freue ich mich auf jeden Fall drauf. Wir können euch leider ja von drinnen im Booth nichts zeigen, aber kannst du es vielleicht einmal für die Leute, die vielleicht jetzt es noch nicht geschafft haben, hier vorbeizukommen, ein bisschen erzählen, was sie da drin erwartet?
Ja, also wir haben einige Stations da drin, wo 10, ja, und 4 davon sind Koop, weil ein wichtiges Element ist eben der Koop für uns. Es kam auch von Anfang an irgendwie auf, als wir die Entwicklung angefangen haben, wir wollten irgendwie, dass die Leute zusammen die Spannung erleben. Und ja, man kann es zusammenspielen, man kann es einzeln spielen. Es ist ungefähr 10 Minuten Demo, wo man einen kleinen Ausschnitt sieht und einen kleinen Geschmack bekommt von dem, was man im Spiel zu erwarten hat.
Das finde ich erstmal super süß. Falls man jetzt vielleicht auch alleine vorbeikommt, kann man gleich mal jemanden kennenlernen, mit dem man sich ordentlich gruseln kann. Und für mich persönlich, für wenn ich es dann später nach Release spiele, finde ich es auch gut, weil zu zweit ist das ein bisschen leichter, sich zu gruseln. Ja. Ja, das klingt ja alles total aufregend. Ab wann kann ich das Spiel denn endlich spielen mit jemandem auf der Couch?
Ja, wir arbeiten noch schwer dran. Wir haben noch kein genaues Release-Datum leider.
Aber vielleicht so nächstes Jahr irgendwann.
Wir werden sehen.
Mal sehen. Naja, wir bleiben auf jeden Fall dran und ihr erfahrt es als erstes.
Das war es leider schon vom zweiten Tag auf der Gamescom 2024. Wir haben eine Menge erlebt heute, aber das bedeutet auch, morgen kommt noch eine ganze Menge mehr auf uns zu. Wir haben Indiana Jones hier. Also nicht er
also
selbst.
Nicht in Person,
leider.
Aber das Spiel.
Auch nicht Troy Baker, leider. Aber die Developer sind hier.
Richtig.
Richtig.
Was haben wir noch?
Star Wars gibt's auch zu sehen.
Nice.
Da freue ich mich extrem drauf, denn auch da haben wir die Schauspielerin für Kay West am Start. Also Premium-Content erwartet uns morgen.
Auf jeden Fall wieder einschalten.
Genau.